Chapter 6:18. Di Lingwei turned his face to the side. His anger hadn't subsided, but he couldn't vent it in front of Di Junbai. "Wanru, go back to your room," Di Junbai said. Lan Wanru nodded and turned to go back to her room. Di Junbai looked at Di Lingwei and Liu Huai and said, "Things have already turned out like this. If this continues, do you want this family to be gone too? And Dad, Wanru has been living in our house since she was young. She's like a daughter. Don't you know that your words will hurt her? Since you had a plan from the start, you should have considered the possibility of failure." In other words, Di Lingwei's plan didn't fail. That was why he was so angry. He couldn't accept it. Moreover, how do you know that we have no way out? As long as we're alive, there's always a chance, Di Junbai said. Di Lingwei turned to look at Di Junbai. He didn't know if the speaker was careless, but the listener was more interested. Anyway, he heard something. Lan Wanru was tending to the flowers in her room. Her room was ventilated almost every day, so the door was almost always open. There was a knock on the door. Lan Wanru turned around and saw Di Lingwei coming in. "Uncle-in-law." Lan Wanru stood up. Di Lingwei sighed. "Uncle-in-law apologizes for what happened just now. I said that because I was in a bad mood. Please don't take it to heart. I want uncle-in-law." Would a daughter hold a grudge after being scolded by her parents? Lan Wanru smiled gently and didn't seem to care. "That's good." After Di Lingwei left, the smile on Lan Wanru's face turned cold. It was a pity that she never knew what her parents' warmth was like. Therefore, she could only rely on herself. Her heart was more biased towards Di Haoyin. For Di Haoyin, she was willing to do anything. 1 or 2 months later, Tang Bao's belly was a few times bigger. He walked around the living room and touched his belly. 2 days ago, they did a checkup and the child was very healthy. There was no problem at all. Tang Bao was very relieved. Although she didn't think there would be any problems, she felt more at ease after hearing the doctor's words. "Young madam, have some bird's nest soup." Zhang Li brought it over. Tang Bao carefully sat down on the sofa and started drinking. Ever since she was pregnant, Zhang Li had been in charge of her diet and didn't borrow anyone else's help. Zhang Li looked at his round belly and was very happy. She would be able to give birth in a few months. This time, she would definitely be safe and sound. When Di Haoyin entered the hall, Zhang Li immediately took a step back. "Why are you back so early?" Tang Bao asked. "I came back earlier if there's nothing else." Di Haoyin sat down on the sofa. "Oh." Tang Bao lowered his head and continued drinking. Tang Bao's body trembled, and his beautiful eyebrows furrowed uncomfortably. Di Haoyin's body suddenly trembled. Before Zhang Li could react, the bowl in Tang Bao's hand was taken away by Di Haoyin. Di Haoyin also held him in his arms and asked in a deep voice, "What's going on?" Tang Bao raised his watery eyes and looked at him pitifully. "The baby kicked me." Zhang Li, who was next to him, chuckled. When he noticed Di Haoyin's dark face, he quickly held back his laughter. He took the bowl in Di Haoyin's hand and turned around to leave. The big hand that was holding Tang Bao's shoulder froze. Then Di Haoyin withdrew his hand with a cold face and prepared to return to his seat. Now, he felt that his seat was really far away from this moment. How did he come over? Just now. Just as he was about to get up, Tang Bao suddenly hugged Di Haoyin's arm. His strong arm seemed to be able to shake off Tang Bao's impudence with a gentle shake. However, it didn't. Tang Bao looked at him with a slight twinkle in her eyes. Then she took his hand and said, "Touch them." After that, she covered her round belly with her hand. Di Haoyin's expression changed. When his big hand covered her belly, it was as if he was holding a huge basketball. It was so stable and safe. Tang Bao had been pregnant for a few months, but Di Haoyin had never touched her belly. With his strength, it seemed that he could hurt this soft little thing with a touch. Wait a minute. Tang Bao was afraid that Di Haoyin would lose his patience and withdraw his hand. If it weren't for Tang Bao's reminder, Di Haoyin wouldn't have known that his hand was on her belly for so long. This kind of action was really strange. Now that Tang Bao said this, he had even more reason not to withdraw his hand. About 5 or 6 seconds later, Di Haoyin felt his palm being kicked. It was the child's foot, with a little force, as if it was naughty and wanted to crawl out of his belly. Di Haoyin's emotions were affected, and his dark eyes deepened. This was his child. He had it after he lost his memory. It was strange, but he wanted to have it. That kind of strong feeling was unbelievable even to himself. Did you feel it? Di Hao Yin, did you feel it? Tang Bao asked in surprise. Yes. Di Hao Yin's face was calm, but in fact his heart was in turmoil. Actually, this isn't the first time he kicked me. He moved several times during the day when you weren't around. At night, when you were around, they didn't move. It was as if they were asleep when we were sleeping. Aren't they very obedient and considerate? Tang Bao's motherly love flowed out. For some reason, Di Hao Yin felt a little uncomfortable when he saw this. It was as if Tang Bao's attention was too focused on the child. If the child was born, wouldn't he look down on him even more? Di Hao Yin was stunned when he thought of this. He was competing with his child for status? Was there a need? It was inexplicable. Tang Bao noticed that Di Hao Yin's expression was normal a moment ago, but why did it change in the next second? Di Hao Yin, what's wrong with you? Tang Bao asked curiously. Nothing. Di Hao Yin stood up and left. Tang Bao had no idea what Di Hao Yin was thinking. She only felt that this person was too unpredictable. He was fine just now. As a pregnant woman, she was not emotionally unstable. Tang Bao took off his clothes in the bathroom and prepared to take a shower. Looking at his belly that was getting bigger day by day, Tang Bao felt a lot of emotions and could not help but be lost in thought. Just as Tang Bao was in a daze, the bathroom door opened without warning, and Di Hao Yin's tall and straight figure walked in. Tang Bao panicked and hurriedly covered himself with the clothes in his hands. It was simply a pitiful piece of cloth that did not have much effect. The fair skin on his body was dyed red by Di Hao Yin's gaze. Why did you come in? I haven't even taken a shower yet. Tang Bao's face was red and uncomfortable, and he was dissatisfied. What were you looking at just now? Di Hao Yin walked over, completely ignoring the embarrassment of Tang Bao's naked body at the moment. It was as if he deliberately went over to take a closer look. Chapter 619. You're not going to tell me? Di Hao Yin stared at her with his deep and dangerous eyes. Tang Bao's little heart trembled, and her whole body tensed up. She must look terrible with a big belly and no clothes on. She did not want Di Hao Yin to see her like this. She believed that if she did not tell him, Di Hao Yin would definitely not leave. My clothes seem to be too small. It's uncomfortable. I'm thinking I should change to bigger ones. Tang Bao felt that she was particularly ashamed to say these words, so she quickly added, It's because I'm pregnant. Let me see. What? Before Tang Bao could recover from the shock in Di Hao Yin's words, both her wrists were locked and then lifted up. Tang Bao's face instantly turned completely red, and the redness spread to every part of her body, making her look like a fairy. Di Hao Yin's black eyes only had Tang Bao's seductive and delicious appearance in them. Even the atmosphere became extremely ambiguous. Don't look, Tang Bao struggled, but her two wrists were firmly locked in Di Hao Yin's one hand, as if they were chained. She could not break free at all. Instead, it was so tight that her bones were about to be broken by him. Di Hao Yin, have you seen enough? Tang Bao flew into a rage out of humiliation. She looked as if she was hung up by a rope, and her feet were almost off the ground because of the strength of that hand. Di Hao Yin's terrifying strength really terrified her. After all, not only did she weigh herself now, but she also had such a big belly. It was too embarrassing. Di Hao Yin's answer was even more straightforward. No. Tang Bao was stunned by Di Hao Yin's answer. The marks left by the strangulation were touched by a stranger. Ugh. Tang Bao moved her body uncomfortably, but she could not break free. It was really strange. It wasn't like this when he touched her. Why did it feel different when it was Di Hao Yin? Not only that, but she also felt that something was wrong with her entire body. Di Hao Qin? Ah. Tang Bao's breath caught in her throat. Her face turned even redder than the sunset glow. She looked pure, beautiful, and enchanting. Didn't you see the marks of strangulation? Can you not? She couldn't even speak properly. After suffocating for a while, her breathing became hurried again. She felt weak all over. Had it not been for Di Hao Ian's grip, she would have slid to the ground. Di Hao Ian pulled her hand down. His voice was low and hoarse, like the roar of a beast. No, no, no. Tang Bao refused and wanted to struggle, but her jaw was clamped down by Di Hao Ian's slender and strong fingers. She could not resist. When they were in the bathroom, Tang Bao had been tortured by Di Hao Ian until she was almost paralyzed. After they returned to the bed, it was not over yet. She was unlucky whether Di Hao Ian had amnesia or not. He was always useful in this aspect. As soon as Di Hao Ian returned home, Tang Bao went up to him and asked in a low voice, "Did you buy it for me?" "What thing?" Di Hao Ian was stunned by her question. "My thing." Tang Bao hid in an angle where no one could see and pointed at herself with a red face. Why was this person like this? He treated her like that yesterday, and now that he was satisfied, he forgot about her today. How can anyone be like this? Di Hao Ian followed her gaze and realized what she was talking about. He could not help but ask in disbelief, "Don't tell me you want me to buy it for you." With his status, would he buy such a thing for a woman? Even if it was his own wife, it was really a fantasy. "Is there a problem?" Tang Bao asked with a pout. Di Hao Ian was expressionless. He ignored her and walked past her. Tang Bao immediately grabbed his arm and said pitifully, "I don't have a choice. In the past, you were the one who bought everything for me. Wasn't that because I didn't know where you bought them? Anyway, since you know, you can buy them for me while you're at it. Besides, I'm pregnant now, so it's not safe for me to go out. If the babies in my stomach see you bullying me like this, they won't acknowledge you as their father." "What did you say?" Di Hao Ian stopped walking. "If the babies in my stomach see you bullying me like this, they won't acknowledge you as their father," Tang Bao said after thinking for a while. The sentence before that. "Aren't I pregnant now? How dangerous is it for me to go out?" Further ahead, Tang Bao searched her mind and said, "You bought all my things in the past because I didn't know where you bought them." This sentence? "I admit that I bought the clothes, but what about the rest?" Di Hao Ian's dark eyebrows were furrowed coldly. "You bought them, didn't you? You were the one who bought all the clothes in the castle." "I'm telling the truth. If you don't believe me, you can ask someone else," Tang Bao said with certainty. At first, she thought that Di Hao Ian was a woman who came to spend the night. At that time, she was confused for a while. She didn't understand what kind of hobby Di Hao Ian had for her to wear other women's clothes. Di Hao Ian's face was stiff, and his dark eyes stared at her coldly. The cold and gloomy air around him was unusually oppressive. Tang Bao's little eyes couldn't help but become guarded. Did she say something wrong? Why did he have to look at her with such a scary gaze? If you don't want to buy it from me, then forget it." Tang Bao could only say so. Then she muttered, "If you don't want to buy it, then don't buy it. Why are you scaring me?" Without looking at Di Hao Ian's gloomy face, she turned and went into the dining room, leaving Di Hao Ian's troublesome place. This person was simply inexplicable. At this moment, Di Hao Ian stood in the same place, and his face was ugly. It seemed that he couldn't recover from the shameful things he had done before he lost his memory and accept them. With his status, how could he do such a degrading thing? However, after he thought of some of the domineering things he had done in the past, his expression was even more indescribable. After dinner, Di Hao Ian didn't go back to his room. Instead, he stayed in the study. After entering the study, he didn't talk about T's affairs, but about buying a bra for Tang Bao. In the end, Di Hao Ian took out his phone with an unpleasant expression. Let Zhongli in. Not long after he put down the phone, Zhongli knocked on the door and came in. "Young Master Di." Zhongli was told by Li In to go to Di Hao Ian's room. She didn't know what was going on, and she was so scared that her nerves were tense. She didn't know if she had done something wrong. Something wasn't right. If she had really done something wrong, Li In could have just let her leave the castle. However, even if she hadn't done anything wrong, standing in front of Di Hao Ian was still extremely oppressive. "Are you in charge of Tang Bao's room?" Di Hao Ian asked calmly. Yes." Chapter 620. Zhongli was stunned by the question and said, "Young master, you bought it for young madam?" Di Hao Ian asked with a straight face. "Including her bra?" "Yes, Young Madam's socks were all bought by young master from a specialty brand store. Before young Madam married into the castle, everything was already set up in the cloakroom. Zhongli said truthfully. If you tell half a lie, do you know what will happen to you? Di Hao Yan's face was extremely cold. I know. Zhongli was forced to lower her head by the strong, oppressive aura. But since she was asked, she felt that it was better to say some things out loud. So she gathered her courage and said again, Young master, there are actually a lot of facts that I want to tell you. Regardless of whether you have lost your memory now, whether you are willing to accept what you have done in the past, or whether you want me to leave the castle after I say it, I still have to say it. Before you lost your memory, you only had young madam in your eyes. You were good to young madam and couldn't stand young madam being wronged at all. Although young madam sometimes has the willfulness of a child, you always indulged her. Even if Miss Long was here, it was because she had ulterior motives and wanted to replace young madam's position. But you always believed in young madam, cared for her, and doted on her. You never gave Miss Long any chance. So now that I see young madam being wronged, I can feel that kind of sadness and disappointment. I hope young master won't hurt young madam anymore. I'll tell you the truth. If you don't believe me, you can ask Leon. Leon has always been loyal to you. You mean you are not loyal to me? Di Hao Yan's face was cold and hard, and he looked at Zhongli with an oppressive aura. I am biased towards young madam, Zhongli said with her head lowered. After saying it, she was very upset. Did she really not plan to work here anymore? But since she had already said it, it was impossible to take it back. Di Hao Yan glanced at Zhongli coldly and retracted his sharp gaze. There's nothing for you to do. Get out. Zhongli was stunned. He didn't mean to chase her away, did he? After she left the study, she was a little confused. As soon as they went out, Lian, who was waiting outside, immediately asked, What did young Master Di say? Zhongli looked at Lian and asked, Director, since when did you like to ask about such private matters? Lian was stunned for a moment before he regained his composure. This is also one of my jobs. If you're chased out by the young master, I'll need to find someone else. Zhang Li's face darkened when he heard that. He said anxiously, Supervisor, what do you mean? Don't tell me you don't have the slightest intention of making me stay? Not even the slightest bit of reluctance? No. Zhang Li was furious. If the person who was leaving was Lian, she would definitely not be so calm. She would definitely plead with the young master. Then, she angered the young master and was chased out of the castle. Lian, on the other hand, was so cold-blooded and heartless. I'm sorry to disappoint you. The young master didn't chase me out. Zhongli snorted and turned to leave angrily. After she left, Lian heaved a sigh of relief. Tang Bao wondered if she should go out. Her brow was not comfortable to wear now. Wouldn't it be even more uncomfortable if she continued wearing it? On one hand, she thought that it should be fine to go shopping with Wang Malay, right? On the other hand, she wondered if Di Hao Yan would let her go out. Tang Bao herself was a little traumatized. After all, her first child was not saved. Her second child would only be more careful. However, the next day, Tang Bao was drowsy in her room when she heard a knock on the door. It was Zhongli who came in. Behind him was a middle-aged but very fashionable woman. She wore gold-rimmed glasses and looked very capable. Young madam, this is the designer who used to design your bra. Today, she came to measure your chest size, Zhongli said with a smile. However, Tang Bao's little face suddenly turned red. What was going on? Did she find a professional designer to design her bras in the past? No wonder she wanted to take a look herself at that time. Even though she could find a store, she couldn't find the same bra. Hello, young madam. The designer's attitude was respectful. Hello. She had already invited her to the door. How could she say no? The key was that she really needed to make a new bra. Otherwise, it would be really uncomfortable. Tang Bao stood up and measured the designer. After the measurement, the designer left. Tang Bao sat on the sofa in a daze. Zhongli asked, Young madam, what's wrong? I always thought that my bras were bought from stores, Tang Bao said. No, young madam's clothes, bras, and jewelry were all designed by top designers. They are unique and can't be bought outside. Di Hao Yan has nothing to do. Tang Bao said this, but her emotions were fluctuating because of this matter. How can that be? Although the young emperor has lost his memory, as long as he recovers his memory, everything will be the same as before. Moreover, no matter what the young emperor does now, it's not sincere. Young madam can wait for him. Even tigers have times when they take a nap, Zhongli said. Tang Bao couldn't help but laugh when she heard this. What kind of analogy is that? I'm telling the truth. If the young emperor knows that he made the young madam suffer so much during the period when he lost his memory, I'm afraid that after the young emperor recovers his memory, the one who will suffer the most will be himself. Tang Bao looked at Zhang Li in a daze. She didn't know if she wanted to see the credibility of Zhang Li's words or if she was depressed about Di Haoyan recovering his memory. She felt depressed. Would the person who would suffer the most be Di Haoyan? If she was Di Haoyan and she was hurt, the person who would suffer would be Di Haoyan. Logically, there didn't seem to be anything wrong. However, all of this was just speculation. Who knew what would really happen when the time came? Zhongli saw that Tang Bao was suddenly in low spirits and knew that he might have touched her emotions. He couldn't help but divert her attention. Young madam, it's time for an afternoon nap. Why don't you go and sleep for a while? Tang Bao came back to her senses and nodded. Zhongli helped her to the bedroom, lay on the bed, and covered her with a thin blanket. Tang Bao closed her eyes and heard the sound of Zhongli leaving. Then, she opened her eyes again. Although Di Haoyan accepted the child in her stomach, she hoped that Di Haoyan could recover his memory before the child was born. She was willing to stay by Di Haoyan's side for so long. No matter how much he hurt her, she never really left him. Wasn't it because she still had a glimmer of hope for Di Haoyan? She told herself that the reason Di Haoyan was so good to Lan Wanru was definitely because of his memory loss and had nothing to do with anything else. During dinner, Tang Bao and Di Haoyan were the only ones at the dining table. Chapter 6:21. When they reached the room, Tang Bao smiled at the calm and indifferent Di Haoyan and said, I was thinking of going shopping to buy a bra for myself. I didn't expect you to really take it to heart. Thank you. Are you done? Di Haoyan's expression was a little cold. He was absolutely forced to do this. He did not mean it. He was just acting according to his own principles in the past. Di Haoyan, are you shy? Tang Bao asked with sparkling eyes. Is your automatic interpretation system messing up your thinking? No. Tang Bao shook her head indifferently, still smiling. However, Di Haoyan suddenly approached her, causing the smile on her face to suddenly freeze and her body to involuntarily step back. What are you doing? Are you angry out of humiliation? Didn't you say that I'm shy? Di Haoyan asked as he approached her step by step. Are you not? Tang Bao immediately changed her words. Then I was wrong, okay? No. Even if you're shy, you shouldn't be so proactive. Are you comparing me to others? It was indeed a little inappropriate for Tang Bao to compare the king of D City to others. However, could he not be so serious? Seeing that Di Haoyan was getting closer and closer, she was scared and shouted, I'm pregnant now. I can't be agitated. Let me tell you, it's not good for the baby if I'm agitated. Di Haoyan stopped approaching her. Tang Bao hugged her round belly with her two small hands as if she was holding a watermelon and immediately fled as fast as she could. It was too scary. Why did she feel that her pregnancy was so dangerous? In the past, life was like the danger of a prey and a beast being locked in an iron cage. Now, it was the danger of a pregnant prey and a beast being locked in an iron cage. The danger level had definitely risen to the most terrifying level. During the day, Tang Bao sat in the living room and watched TV and ate fruits. Although the freedom to watch TV had not completely reached the same level as before, at least there was more time. At least Di Haoyan had a conscience. Just as she was engrossed in watching TV, her phone rang. Because she had a big belly, everything was placed closer to her hands. In the past, it was always the servants who stood beside her, but she was not used to it, so the servant stood outside the door. It was obvious that he was paying attention to the movements in the room. Tang Bao took the phone, and looked at the caller ID. He was a little surprised. Lowly, Tang Bao, my college entrance exam is over. I'll treat you to a meal to celebrate. Luo Luoli's cheerful voice could be heard. Have you finished your college entrance examination? Tang Bao seemed to have lost track of time. Yes. Call Malay, and the three of us go to the bar to celebrate. I'm 18 years old, and I can go to the bar. Luo Luoli was very excited. Your uncle allowed you to go to the bar? After Tang Bao asked, he felt that his words were not accurate enough, so he corrected himself. He's not your uncle anymore. Tang Bao, you're really touching the pot that doesn't boil, Luo Luoli said awkwardly. Then I'll mention the pot that you opened. I might not be able to go, Tang Bao said apologetically. Why? No, Tang Bao, my uncle provoked you, not me. You are you, and he is him. Although we are legally husband and wife, I have never acknowledged you in my heart. You can't count it as me, Luo Luoli hurriedly explained. No, Tang Bao said, a little embarrassed. Then what is it? Is it because the young master doesn't let you go out? No. Tang Bao touched his nose and asked helplessly, have you ever seen a pregnant woman go to the bar? I've never seen him before. I've never been to a bar before. Luo lowly muttered. Suddenly, she thought of something. Tang Bao, are you saying that you're pregnant? Yes, I didn't tell you. Really? 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 You have Xiao Bao? Luo Luoli asked excitedly. Yes, 6 months. What? So big? Then will you be able to give birth in 3 or 4 months? Luo Luoli asked excitedly. Almost. That's great. I've never seen a newborn before. When the time comes, I want to hug it, touch it, and give it a gift. Tang Bao laughed out loud. Okay, when the time comes, I'll call you over. It's a deal. In that case, I can't let you go to the bar even if you want to. If you don't go, Malay definitely won't go either. Luo Luoli was not disappointed. Instead, she was excited about Tang Bao's pregnancy. Why don't you come to the castle to play? Can I go? Luo Luoli really wanted to go, but she still remembered the last time she went. If Gu Linshun hadn't gone, she might have been killed by Di Haoyan. That gaze almost killed her. She still felt scared when she thought about it. Sure, I have the final say. That's right. Pregnant women are the most important. I'll go now. After Luo Luoli put down her phone, she turned around and saw a tall figure standing behind her. She was so scared that she took a step back. Gu Linshun, why are you standing behind me? Luo Luoli was unhappy. Are you eavesdropping on me? You're so loud. Do I need to eavesdrop? The whole house heard you. Luo Luoli said calmly. I didn't say anything. By the way, I'm going out for a while. You're not allowed. Gu Linshun stopped her coldly. Why not? My college entrance exam is over. Luo Luoli's face was scrunched up. You're not allowed to step out of the door without my permission. Gu Linshun turned around and walked away heartlessly. Luo Luoli quickly blocked Gu Linshun. You're being unreasonable. You just realized? Gu Linshun looked at her coldly. Luo Luoli was speechless. She knew Gu Linshun's character. He was overbearing, unreasonable, and ruthless. However, she had already agreed to go to Tang Bao. Uncle, let me go, okay? Tang Bao is pregnant. I'll go and see her. Are you angry at me because you were in a bad mood when you heard about Tang Bao's pregnancy? Gu Linshun was speechless. Even if that's the case, you can't confuse me with you, right? Tang Bao and I are friends. What happens between you and her has nothing to do with me. Luo Luoli was still trying to reason with him. Nothing to do with you? Then what's my relationship with you? Gu Linshun asked, looking at her intently. Luo Luoli's mouth moved. She looked like she didn't want to speak. In the end, under Gu Linshun's oppressive gaze, she reluctantly said, We're relatives. I see. Then I can only destroy this relationship, Gu Linshun said coldly. Chapter 622. Luo Luoli wanted to retreat, but Gu Linshun caught her with his long arm and pressed her body against Gu Linshun's strong and sturdy waist. Luo Luoli's heart skipped a beat. Her body froze and her tanned face was burning hot. If it wasn't for the pain on her face, it would have been a fiery red. Her thoughts were no longer pure because she and Gu Linshun were not uncle and niece, but husband and wife. The whole atmosphere became ambiguous. "Little uncle," Luo Luoli called out nervously. "Do you still want to go out?" Gu Linshan's expression was dangerous. But I promised Tang Bao to visit her. You can't expect me to be a person who doesn't keep my word, right? Luo Luoli asked pitifully. You could be a person who doesn't keep her word. I don't want to. Luo Luoli twisted her body and struggled. But Gu Linshan's arm was so strong that she couldn't move at all. But Gu Linshan didn't let go. At this moment, Luo Luoli felt that something was wrong with her lower abdomen. She looked up at Gu Linshan in shock. You can continue to move. You let go of me. Luo Luoli's bright eyes were suddenly filled with tears. She looked pitiful. Gu Linshan saw that she was about to cry. His dark eyes turned cold, and he loosened his grip. He let go of her and turned around. Come back before 4 o'clock. What did you say, little uncle? Luo Luoli was stunned. Gu Linshan turned around slowly. Luo Luoli's nerves immediately tensed up. She immediately said, as if she was facing a formidable enemy, I'll be back before 4 o'clock. She asked because she didn't dare to believe it. After saying that, she ran into her room. She had to take her bag before she could leave. Tang Bao was sitting in the living room downstairs. Zhongli came over and asked, Young madam, don't you want to rest? I'll watch TV for a while, Tang Bao said without looking sideways. Zhongli looked at the TV. The screen was dark. Now is not the time to watch TV. This was really watching TV. At this moment, a cheerful voice rang out, Tang Bao, I'm here. The sooner you come, the sooner. Tang Bao smiled. Zhongli knew who this was and felt a little suspicious. After all, she had clearly seen what had happened in the castle at that time. However, she did have a good relationship with Tang Bao, so she did not say anything. After greeting him, he went down to pour some fruit and drink. Tang Bao, you're really pregnant. Luo Luoli stared at Tang Bao's round belly in surprise. Do you think I would joke about such things? Tang Bao asked with a smile. I won't, but I can only really believe it when I see it with my own eyes. But your belly is 6 months old. It's really big. After Luo Luoli said that, she asked, Can I touch it? You can touch it. Tang Bao stuck out his belly and let her touch it. Luo Luoli had just reached out her hand, but before her hand touched his belly, she retracted it. She looked around nervously. Tang Bao saw her cautious look and knew what her reaction was. He said, Don't worry, Di Haoyan isn't back yet. Then I'm relieved. Luo Luoli breathed a sigh of relief and then touched Tang Bao's belly. She touched it carefully. It felt especially magical. There are twins inside. Tang Bao looked at her and could not help but laugh. Luo Luoli was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. Twins? There are 2 inside? Yes. Tang Bao nodded. Oh my god, there are actually 2 Xiao Bao's babies inside. I knew it. A 6-month-old belly is too big. Luo Luoli looked at her belly in disbelief and said. Then she supported Tang Bao. Sit down, sit down. Tang Bao sat down on the sofa and looked at Luo Luoli, who had yet to recover from her disbelief. He asked, How was your college entrance exam? It won't be a problem to get into the university I like. It was easier than my college entrance exam back then, Tang Bao said. Is that so? Luo Luoli said a little embarrassedly. That's because my university is just an ordinary university. Although her academic results were not good in the past, especially her mathematics, it had to be said that under Gu Linshan's guidance, her results had soared. Especially in mathematics, she had soared to the top of the school. She still did not feel much difficulty in the mathematics of the college entrance exam. Moreover, the university she applied to was not a famous one. It was not difficult, so she would definitely be able to get in. An ordinary university in D City? Which one? Tang Bao asked. Not in D City. A university in another city? Gu Linshan agreed. Tang Bao was a little surprised. Because Gu Linshan was Di Haoyan's friend, the two of them had similar temperaments. He would never allow the person he wanted to leave his sight. Gu Linshan was a particularly sinister person. Did he not object to Luo Luoli's decision? He doesn't know yet, Luo Luoli said a little bashfully. Tang Bao's little mouth opened slightly. Luo Luoli was a little embarrassed. Why should I tell him? Can't I just tell my mother? He's not my guardian. But he's your spouse, Tang Bao reminded her. This relationship was more important than being a guardian. You know, I don't want to marry him, but I can't make the decision to divorce him. I can only use this method to escape from him. I thought that after a long time, Gu Linchen would forget about me and take the initiative to divorce me. Look at my face. It's so ugly. Which normal man would like it? Actually, I'll tell you the truth. Gu Linchen asked me to marry him just to appease the Gu family. The Gu family? Yes. Luo Luoli was afraid that she would not believe her, so she nodded vigorously. It's because old Master Gu. It was Gu Linchen's father who forced him to marry. He had no choice but to come to me. Otherwise, why do you think he would marry me? He's not stupid. When the time is right, he will divorce me. Tang Bao listened for a long time and finally understood. But Gu Linchen was forced to marry her? It did not seem like it. That man was sinister. He was definitely someone who would not let himself be taken advantage of and would seek revenge. He would also not compromise for anyone. Was marriage something fun? However, Tang Bao was not so sure when she thought about herself. Wasn't it like a dream for Di Haoyan to marry her? Tang Bao did not recover from her shock for a long time. She could not believe that she was married to Di Haoyan and not Di Junbai. TSK. She could not have dreamed of this. Why? Tang Bao, don't you believe what I said? Luo Luoli asked when she saw that Tang Bao was silent. No, I'm just thinking. If Gu Linchen finds out that you're going to university in another city, will you still be able to go there? Tang Bao did not mean to scare her. She just wanted to remind her. Won't he know when you report to university on the first day? Chapter 6:23. Luo Luoli didn't want to believe it. She felt that she wasn't that important. Wouldn't it be enough if she helped Gu Linchen brush off the Gu family? Would Gu Linchen really spend so much effort to get into her university? I'm not too sure. Don't worry. Gu Linchen isn't that free. Luo Luoli smiled. Tang Bao thought to himself, am I the one who should be worried? Or is Luo Luoli the one who should be worried? Luo Luoli's plan would never change. She even felt that things would go according to her plan. It was just that things had happened so suddenly that she was very confused. Before the admission notice was out, Luo Luoli first searched for her name in the university on the computer. But after entering her name, she realized that she didn't get in. How was that possible? Luo Luoli didn't believe it and logged into 2 other universities. The results were the same. She didn't get in. This was impossible. With her grades, it was impossible that she couldn't get into a third-rate university. During the exam, she was relaxed and confident. She even got first place in the math exam. How could she not get into a single university? Luo Luoli was deeply shocked and stared blankly at the computer. She couldn't even get into a third-rate university. She might as well die. If Gu Linchen found out, wouldn't she be in trouble? Gu Linchen returned to the mansion but didn't see Luo Luoli. Luo Luoli usually liked to skate around the hall on her skateboard. Gu Linchen tried to persuade her several times, but she wouldn't change her mind. In the end, Gu Linchen gave up and told her to go. Gu Linchen raised his wrist to look at the time and asked the housekeeper, "She's not here." "She's here." But the housekeeper hesitated. Gu Linchen looked at the housekeeper sharply. The housekeeper hurriedly said, "Miss went upstairs after lunch and didn't come down. I asked the maid to knock on the door, but she said not to bother her. She's probably in a bad mood." In a bad mood? Gu Linchen narrowed his eyes and walked upstairs. Luo Luoli was lying on the bed, looking like she had nothing left to live for. Hearing the sound of the door opening, she said, "Don't bother me. I want some peace and quiet." After she finished speaking impatiently, she sensed that the atmosphere was unusual. She looked up and met Gu Linchen's calm and cold eyes. His face turned ashen as he sat up from the bed. Luo Luoli asked weakly, "Why are you looking for me? You didn't pass?" Gu Linchen's deep eyes flashed with a sharp luster as he asked. Luo Luoli was shocked. Was she that obvious? She was not mentally prepared for such a straightforward question at all, and she blushed with embarrassment. Her small face stubbornly turned to the side. "If you want to scold me, then scold me. In any case, I didn't get in." Gu Linshin looked at her downcast and innocent expression. His dark eyes flashed, and he took out an envelope. This is your acceptance letter. Ah! Luo Luoli looked at Gu Linshin in astonishment and the so-called acceptance letter in his hand. It's mine? Yes. Luo Luoli could not be blamed for not daring to believe it. She had applied to a total of 3 universities, and all 3 had rejected her. Then, where did the acceptance letter come from? She wanted to say that she had made a mistake, but how could Gu Linshin allow such a thing to happen? Luo Luoli walked up suspiciously and took the envelope from Gu Linshin's hand. After she opened it, she was stunned. Her expression froze. She had indeed been accepted. It was written clearly on the wall, but she had been accepted by a top university in D-City. Luo Luoli looked at Gu Linshin in confusion. Little uncle, I didn't apply to this university. Her words came to an abrupt halt. She seemed to have thought of a possibility. Little uncle, did you change my application form? No. Then how did I get into Greenvine University? It's the best university in D-City. No, my grades have reached the cutoff score for Greenvine University, but I didn't fill in the application form. How could they accept me? She did not believe that it had nothing to do with Gu Linshin. Did he think that she was as naive as a child? Then why didn't you apply to a top university in D-City? Why did you apply to a third-rate university in another city? Luoli, do you want to explain it to me? Gu Linshin's eyes were cold and sinister. Luo Luoli's eyes flashed. She felt guilty, but she did not want to appear unreasonable. She retorted, I told my mother, and she agreed. You think it's fine just because she agreed? Gu Linshin exuded a cold aura. Yes, I thought I wouldn't be able to get in, so I didn't fill in. Luo Luoli continued to find excuses for herself. It's impossible that you can't get in under my tutelage. Luo Luoli could not refute that for a moment, because the truth was that her grades had improved by leaps and bounds under Gu Linshin's tutelage. Gu Linshin was very smart, especially when it came to mathematics. She did not understand what the teacher was saying, but Gu Linshin was very good at understanding things. Gu Linshin approached Luo Luoli with an unfriendly and sinister aura. Luo Luoli was standing by the bed. She instinctively stepped back when the heavy shadow pressed on her, but the bed was behind her. She lost her balance and fell on the bed. Little uncle, it's my own fault for not having confidence. Is that enough? Gu Linshin pressed his upper body down. His handsome face covered Luo Luoli's small face. Are you sure you don't have confidence? Or are you trying to run away from me? Luo Luoli was so frightened that her heart almost stopped. Her first reaction was to deny it. Did you think that I wouldn't be able to deal with you just because you applied for a university behind my back and decided to study in another city? Gu Linshin's dangerous aura became even stronger. Luo Luoli almost stopped breathing. Her bright eyes trembled as she stared at Gu Linshin's frightening face warily. You knew all along? Luo Luoli asked. Then why didn't you expose me? Is there a need? Gu Linshin retorted. His meaning was obvious. It made Luo Luoli feel even more hopeless. Whether she came in the open or in the dark, Luo Luoli would not be able to do anything under his watch, let alone run away. Gu Linshin's sinister black eyes stared fixedly at her with a bloodthirsty luster. As long as I don't agree, you won't be able to run away. You should know this clearly. I don't want to be with you. Luo Luoli trembled as she spoke. You don't have a second choice. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. I shouldn't have taken the initiative to look for you and provoked you. Luo Luoli had already experienced it deeply. It's good that you know. The word good went straight into Luo Luoli's mouth. She felt numb. Luo Luoli trembled all over. Her eyes were filled with shock. She was weak even when she resisted. Her body and consciousness were under Gu Linshin's control. At the dinner table, Luo Luoli ate in silence. Chapter 624. It only took a second for her hope to turn into disappointment. And the person who made her feel this way was Gu Linshin. Her plan, which she had been so confident in, had been destroyed by that acceptance letter. Why was he so cruel? What had she done wrong to deserve such treatment from Gu Linshan? Couldn't she refuse to be his wife? She hadn't even asked for a divorce. She just wanted to keep some distance from him. She couldn't even fulfill this request. Most importantly, there were other reasons for her to run away. When Gu Linshan had wanted to touch her, she had used the upcoming college entrance exam as an excuse to refuse. Now that her college entrance exam was over, she had even been admitted to Green Vine University. Was Gu Linshan going to make a move on her? What should she do? The only thing she could do now was to play dumb. Luoli, huh? The deep, pleasant voice interrupted her thoughts. Luoli was so frightened that she trembled. She looked at Gu Linshan in confusion and panic. What? What's wrong? What do you think? I don't know. Luoli was breaking out in cold sweat. At this moment, she couldn't even play dumb anymore. She just wanted to faint. As Gu Linshan stared at her with his sharp eyes, Luoli suddenly jumped up and dodged to the side. She kept a safe distance from him and said, "You can't touch me. I'm not mentally prepared yet. If you touch me, you'll be heartless. I'm only 18 years old. How would you do this to me? Aren't you a beast?" Gu Linshan's dark eyes froze for a moment. Then he smiled. "So you can't wait to do something with me?" "What? I didn't. You're the one with bad intentions." "Did I?" Gu Linshan was calm. "Of course you did. You kept staring at me." Luoli pointed out his evil intentions. Not only did Gu Linshan stare at her, he even stood up. As soon as Gu Linshan made a move, Luoli turned and ran. However, before she could get far away from the dining table, she felt a tight grip around her waist, and she was pulled over. Let go of me." Luoli was ready to throw caution to the wind for the sake of her chastity. She was pinned against the edge of the table. Luoli looked at the oppressive face in front of her in horror, and her heart almost stopped. "What do you plan to run to?" Gu Linshan's low voice was very bewitching, but was also very dangerous. "Do you believe that I won't eat you on the dining table, just like those delicious dishes?" No, I'm not ready yet." Luoli shook her head in fear. "I don't think you'll be ready even after 10 years, Gu Linshan concluded. I won't make you wait that long." Luoli still wanted to say something, but Gu Linshan's face got even closer. She had no way out. Her heart was beating wildly. Was Gu Linshan really going to eat her on the dining table? Luoli was so scared that she closed her eyes. She felt that she couldn't escape this disaster. Even if she could escape for a while, could she escape for the rest of her life? Besides, she couldn't escape in front of Gu Linshan. Just as she accepted her fate, the corner of her mouth sank. Thinking that she had been kissed, she opened her eyes instinctively, only to find a grain of rice in Gu Linshan's hand. "I'm just removing the rice from the corner of your mouth. Why are you so nervous?" Luoli was dumbfounded. Was Gu Linshan doing this just to remove the rice from the corner of her mouth? Luoli's face suddenly heated up. "You did it on purpose." "On purpose what?" "You deliberately made me misunderstand." "Misunderstand what?" Luoli turned her face to the side. "Nothing." Gu Linshan's hand pinched Luoli's beautiful chin and turned her to face him. "I really want to eat you here." His voice was low and hoarse, dangerous. Every cell in lowly Luo's body was filled with fear. At this moment, the servants and housekeepers in the dining room had all left. Only she and Gu Linshan were left. This undoubtedly made everything even more dangerous. It was as if the air was filled with gas. One spark and the entire dining room would burn to ashes. "Little uncle, I'll be obedient in the future. I won't run away anymore, okay? Have mercy on me." Luoli begged for mercy. She thought that if she threw a tantrum now, she would only get herself into deeper trouble. In the end, it would be out of control. That would be too scary. Although she had schemed against Gu Linshan before, she had never thought that something would really happen between her and Gu Linshan. This was too frightening. "You won't run away anymore?" Gu Linshan's dark eyes locked on her nervous ones. "Yes, I won't run away anymore. I swear." Luoli immediately raised her right hand and raised her fingers. Then she realized that she had raised 4 fingers. She quickly changed it and raised the 3 thin fingers in the middle. Gu Linshan stared at the various expressions on her face. His eyes darkened. Little uncle? Luo Lolly saw that Gu Linshan was not moving and called out to him uneasily. It was very stressful to be stared at like this without saying a word. Gu Linshan grabbed her hand, clenched his fist, and pulled it down. Luo Luoli was still in a daze when Gu Linshan's thin lips kissed her. Huh? Luo Luoli was slightly dazed by this gentle and forceful kiss. What was going on? Didn't she swear to him? Why was he kissing her? Don't be distracted, Gu Linshan warned her in a low voice. Luo Luoli snapped out of her daze. Not only could she not refuse, but she also had to concentrate. This was a very difficult thing for her, but she did not dare to disobey. What did Gu Linshan mean by this? Please don't keep kissing her and eat her up at the dining table. Fortunately, Gu Linshan let go of her just as she was about to faint from suffocation. Her head fell onto Gu Linshan's hard chest. Her breathing was rapid. If she had not been sitting at the dining table, she would have slid to the ground. She was really not presentable. The food was still on the table, but she was sitting on it. I'm not full yet. Luo Luoli's voice was muffled. Gu Linshan looked down at her exploding head and carried her down from the table. Ah! Luo Luoli was shocked. She was already sitting on the chair. Gu Linshan also sat down in his seat. Luo Luoli's expression changed. She did not speak or eat. Are you waiting for me to eat you up? Luo Luoli trembled. She immediately picked up her chopsticks and stuffed her head into her mouth. The next day, when Gu Linshan was not in the mansion, Luo Luoli played on her skateboard in the living room. After playing for a while, she went outside to skate. She was very good at it, but she was in a bad mood. Her ideal university had fallen through just like that. Of course, she knew that this was Gu Linshan's doing. He would never allow her to leave his side. Chapter 6:25. It wasn't strange for her to be afraid of Gu Linshan. Even she was wary of Gu Linshan. Thus, she was very surprised that Gu Linshan took such good care of Luo Luoli. Luo Luoli lowered her head and didn't say anything. She felt very wronged and secretly glared at Gu Linshan. It's not her fault. It's my fault, Gu Linshan said. Luo Luoli was surprised that Gu Linshan actually spoke up for her. Since Gu Linshan had said so, Luo Meiwan couldn't say anything else. The three of them found a table under the guidance of the waiter. Lin Xiangting, who was hiding in the dark, looked at the three people sitting at a table in the distance with jealousy in her eyes. For what had just happened, it was obvious that Luo Meiwan didn't know about the relationship between Luo Luoli and Gu Linshan. That made sense. Although the two of them had gotten a marriage certificate, no one knew about it. They hadn't even held a wedding ceremony. She really wanted to see what Luo Meijuan's expression would be when he found out about it. It must be very exciting for his own daughter to become husband and wife with his former brother. After dinner, Luo Luoli suggested that she accompany Luo Meiwan to go shopping. Gu Linshan's gaze was very sinister as he glanced at her face. Surprisingly, Gu Linshan agreed. However, before Gu Linshan got into the car, he turned around and said, I'm working nearby. Call me when you're done. I'll come and pick you up. Luo Luoli was speechless. After Gu Linshan finished speaking, he got into the car. He left behind an unhappy Luo Luoli and a surprised Luo Meiwan. Your youngest uncle is so nice to you. He even said that he would personally come and pick you up. Luo Luoli couldn't say a word. She didn't want to be treated so well. However, if Luo Meiwan knew what she was thinking, he would definitely say that she was heartless. The two of them were looking at clothes in the shopping mall when they met a person who surprised Luo Luoli and also made her nervous, Lin Xiangting. When Luo Luoli looked up and saw it, she immediately lowered her head and pretended not to see it. However, Lin Xiangting was here specifically for her. To be exact, she was here for her and Luo Meiwan. How could she let her escape? Oh, what a coincidence. Loli, you're shopping too. Lin Xiangting greeted her warmly. Luo Meiwan looked at the person who came. She was tall and wore high heels. She was dressed fashionably. She looked like a strong woman. At first glance, she could tell that she was not an ordinary woman. How did Luo Luoli get to know someone with such an appearance? He could not help but look at Luo Luoli. Luo Luoli couldn't escape from Luo Majuan's enthusiasm, so she could only respond, "Yes, I'm here to shop." Then, "This must be your mother, right? Your mother looks so young," Lin Xianting said with a smile. Luo Meiwan asked Luo Luoli, "Is this your friend?" Before Luo Luoli could speak, Lin Xianting introduced herself. "My name is Lin Xianting. My family has business dealings with the Gu family, so I gotta know Loli." "I see. It's so good for Loli to know a friend like you. I should say that. I'm happy to know Loli. Now Loli's identity is not the same as before. She's Mrs. Gu now," Lin Xianting said directly. Luo Meiwan, who didn't understand for a moment, was stunned. "What do you mean by Mrs. Gu?" Luo Loli didn't expect that Lin Xianting would say it directly in front of Luo Meiwan. After Luo Meiwan asked in confusion, she hurriedly pulled Luo Meiwan. "Mom, let's go. There are no nice clothes here." Lin Xianting stopped them directly. "Why are you in such a hurry to leave? I haven't finished my words yet. I think your mother still has a lot of things she doesn't understand. If I don't make it clear, won't she let her imagination run wild?" "Lin Xianting, what on earth do you want to do? This is my family's business. Who are you to interfere?" Luo Luoli was angry. If she couldn't see Lin Xianting's ulterior motives, she would be too stupid. "I'm being kind. Can't you see it? Are you going to hide it from your mother forever? It's not good. Some things can't be hidden forever. Your mother will know it sooner or later." Lin Xianting seemed to be very reasonable. Luo Luoli was so angry that her face turned blue. But Lin Xianting still had a hypocritical smile on her face, as if she couldn't see her anger. Luo Meiwan, who was confused, turned around and asked Luo Luoli, "What is she talking about? What are you hiding from me?" "Mom, don't listen to her nonsense. Nothing is wrong." Luo Luoli just wanted to pull Luo Meiwan away, but Lin Xianting, who was blocking her, obviously came prepared. "Let me tell you," Lin Xianting sneered. "Lin Xianting, what does it have to do with you?" Luo Luoli was very nervous. "How does it have nothing to do with me? Gu Linxin was originally my fiancé, my future husband. He rejected me because of you. You are his niece, and now you are his wife. How can you do such a thing?" After Lin Xianting finished mocking her, she went on to mock Luo Meiwan, who was still in shock. "When you were in the Gu family, everyone knew what kind of ungrateful adopted daughter the Gu family had. I didn't expect your daughter to be the same as you. Don't tell me you are encouraging your daughter to seduce Gu Linxin so that you can have him as your backer?" After so many years, Luo Meiwan had learned to control her emotions when others mocked her. But Luo Luoli's matter not only made her feel incredulous, but also shocked. But she still chose to believe that Luo Luoli would not do such a thing. She asked, "Tell me, is this true?" "Mom, let's go back first." Luo Luoli pulled Luo Meiwan away. This time, Lin Xianting did not stop them, because she had already achieved her goal. When they were outside the mall, Luo Meiwan shook off Luo Luoli's hand and asked, "What's going on? Tell me clearly." "Mom, I'm sorry, is what that woman said true?" Luo Luoli knew that she could not hide it anymore. She did not expect that Luo Meiwan would find out in such a way. After hesitating for a long time, she braced herself and nodded, saying softly, "Yes." Luo Meiwan was like a bolt from the blue that hit her on the head. She was so angry that she paced back and forth. "You seduced Gu Linxin?" Luo Meiwan could not accept this fact. Her daughter was only 18 years old. She had only been of age for a few months. No, I didn't seduce him." "Then why did you nod just now?" "Legally, Gu Linxin and I are husband and wife. But I didn't want to. Gu Linxin forced me." "Why did he do that?" I think the Gu family forced him to marry me. He had no choice but to do this." "Nonsense!" Luo Meiwan shouted angrily. Luo Luoli had never seen Luo Meiwan so angry in her life. Chapter 6:26. Wouldn't a divorce be a second marriage? Luo Luoli was a little confused. "So you mean that's it?" Why couldn't she see what Luo Meiwan meant? Did he mean that he didn't approve of it just because he was angry? What is Gu Linxin thinking? Did he really marry you because he was forced to? Luo Meiwan asked. This was the crux of the problem. Anyway, she wasn't a daughter of the Gu family, and they weren't related by blood. If Gu Linxin really wanted to marry Luo Luoli, she wouldn't say anything. Her only worry now was that Luo Luoli would be at a disadvantage. What did an 18-year-old child know about men and marriage? Youngest uncle, why are you still calling him youngest uncle? I'm used to it. Mother, have you already accepted my marriage to youngest uncle? Do you want me to ask you to get a divorce? Do you think it's nice to get a divorce? Getting married at 18 and getting divorced at 18. What do you want others to think? Luo Luoli wanted to say that she was too old-fashioned, but she didn't say anything in the end. She knew Luo Meijuan's character. Once she had made up her mind, she couldn't change it. Mother, don't tell me you're going to look for youngest uncle. Do you want me to pretend that I don't know? It's fine if you don't know any better, but does he not know any better? Mother, don't look for youngest uncle. Let me settle this matter myself. No, I'm going to look for him and ask him to marry you in a grand manner. That's not good, is it? Luo Luoli was shocked. Why not? It's not good for him to do that. You're in such a mess with the Gu family. Is it really okay for you to step in? Luo Luoli asked. Luo Meijuan's anger was immediately suppressed. She thought of something and asked, Does old Master Gu know? He knows. What did he say? Isn't he angry? How can he not be angry? He's just short of being angry. But Gu Linxin does things his way, and no one can change his mind. So, if he doesn't want to do something, it's useless even if you talk to him. Luo Luoli knew Gu's methods. Of course, Luo Meiwan knew too. Otherwise, when Luo Luoli wanted to look for Gu Linxin, she had been the first to say that. But now she was hesitating. Was it really going to look for Luoli's assessed? Seeing this, Luo Luoli immediately said, Mom, don't worry. Leave this to me. I'll handle it. Why? Why? PTST, Chikates. Luo Luoli didn't ask Gu Linxin to pick her up. After parting with Luo Meiwan, she didn't call Gu Linxin. She got into the car herself, instead of going back to the mansion. She drove around aimlessly. The chauffeur asked her several times, but she told him to just drive. Her phone rang. Luo Luoli glanced at the caller ID. She was so angry that she turned it off. She wanted to divorce Gu Linxin, while Luo Meiwan didn't know what was going on. Luo Meiwan wouldn't agree even if she wanted a divorce now. It was all Gu Linxin's fault. If it weren't for him, why would there be so many annoying things? There was also that haunting Lin Xiangting. What did that have to do with her? Lin Xiangting was just venting her anger because she couldn't get Gu Linxin. What did she do wrong? Wasn't she innocent? In the dark bar, Luo Luoli was huddled in a corner, drinking from a bottle of wine. She looked at the woman dancing and singing on the stage. Her eyes were unfocused. Obviously, she had drunk too much, but she didn't think she had drunk too much, because she still felt aggrieved. Gu Linxin, you bastard. It's all because of you that I'm in such a mess now. Bastard. Luo Luoli waved her hand in the air angrily. After shouting, she poured wine into the glass in front of her. Her hands were shaking. She poured half of the wine, and the other half leaked out. At this moment, someone sat down in the seat opposite her. Luo Luoli didn't even raise her head. I'm sorry, this seat is already taken. I hope you can find another seat. After she finished speaking, the person opposite her didn't leave. Luo Luoli raised her head angrily. She really wasn't drunk. At least she knew who was sitting opposite her. You're really haunting me. Luo Luoli didn't have any hesitation in her mind and said bluntly. Lin Xiangting had a masked smile on her face. Me? I'm just here to check on you. If you're drunk and something happens here, it'll be terrible. What would happen to me? Luo Luoli frowned and asked drunkenly. For example, being raped or being gang raped. There are all kinds of people in the bar every day. This kind of thing is very normal. After Lin Xiangting finished speaking, she seemed to remember something and exclaimed, I forgot that you're so ugly. No one would rape you. Otherwise, you would have been drinking until now, and no one would have tried to hit on you. How could Luo Luoli not hear the sarcasm in her words? Just as she was about to say something, someone came over from the side. Xiangting, why are you here? Aren't you going to the private room? The person who came was Lin Xiangting's good friend, Chao Xine. When she saw Luo Luoli, she asked, "Who is this?" Gu Linshan's wife. Lin Xiangting glanced at Luo Luoli and said, "It can't be. What kind of taste does young Master Gu have? How can he eat someone like that?" Chao Xian said exaggeratedly, "He must have some extraordinary means." Lin Xiangting's eyes were filled with disdain. Chao Xian moved closer to Luo Luoli to look at her face. Luo Luoli frowned. "Wasn't this person too rude? You have the guts to marry Gu Linshan with that face? If I were you, I'd rather die. You're so ugly. Is your family even uglier?" As expected of Lin Xiangting's friend, they were all of the same character. Birds of a feather flock together like this. "What did you say?" Luo Luoli was angry and slammed the glass on the table. "Why? You want to hear it a second time? Is it not enough for you to hear it once?" "Fine, I'll say a second time. With that face, you're also... Ah." Before Chao Xian could finish her sentence, Luo Luoli raised the glass in her hand and splashed all the wine on Chao Xian's face. Chao Xian's makeup was ruined by the water. When Luo Luoli saw it, she immediately laughed and pointed at her. "Aren't you ugly too? You still have the cheek to talk about me? You! Chao Xian was so angry that she went forward to hit Luo Luoli. However, Luo Luoli was not to be outdone. She was wearing flats. Why would she be afraid of someone who was wearing high heels? She directly pounced on Chao Xian and pulled her hair to the ground. Chao Xian was wearing high heels. She lost her balance and was knocked to the ground. "Who told you to scold my family? Who told you to scold my family?" Luo Luoli slapped Chao Xian's face. "What does my ugliness have to do with you? Who do you think you are? Get out of my way. Xiangting, help me pull her away." Chapter 6:27. However, before she could reach Luo Luoli, another figure pressed down on her and pulled Luo Luoli away. Luo Luoli was in the middle of a fight. Naturally, she was unhappy and wanted to fight with the person who pulled her away. Gu Linshan clamped her hands and fixed them in front of her. He forced her to look at him and said in a low voice, "Don't make a scene." The familiar voice made Luo Luoli sober up a little. The face in front of her was a little shaky. She reached out and put her hands on Gu Linshan's face and pouted unhappily. "Don't shake. I can't see you clearly." Lin Xiangting and Chao Xian, who had just gotten up, were shocked. Luo Luoli was touching Gu Linshan's face. They had known what kind of person Gu Linshan was since they were teenagers. He was definitely a scary person who kept people away, especially women. And now, Luo Luoli was doing something so reckless. What shocked them even more was that Gu Linshan did not break those two impudent hands. "How much did you drink?" Gu Linshan's face darkened. "Let me think about it." Lowly Luo tilted her head and thought about it seriously. "I remember now. You are Gu Linshan." Was he asking her that? Also, she had drunk so much that she doubted his existence? "No, I can't go back." Luo Luoli struggled. "What do you want to do if you don't go back?" Gu Linshan held her waist tightly and did not let her escape. "They bullied me and said that I was ugly. They even said that they wanted me to be humiliated here. Don't you think they are too much? Should I teach them a lesson?" Luo Luoli looked up and asked. Gu Linshan's eyes turned cold. "They really said that?" "Yes. I didn't lie to you." Luo Luoli shook her head and nodded. Gu Linshan glared at Lin Xiangting and Chao Xian and said, "Then get some people here and let them have a taste of what it's like to be humiliated." Lin Xiangting and Chao Xian's faces turned pale. Lin Xiangting immediately stepped forward. "Linshan, Lolita isn't telling the truth. She misunderstood me." "Misunderstanding?" Gu Linshan's face darkened. "It's a misunderstanding. How could I say that? I know she's your wife. So why would I say something like that to her?" Lolita drank so much, she must have heard wrongly. Lin Xiangting suppressed the fear in her heart and explained to Gu Linshan. Gu Linshan's face remained cold, and he did not withdraw his order. Luo Luoli looked up. She was drunk, but she could still feel the yin qi emanating from Gu Linshan's body. It made her shiver. Gu Linshan seemed to be helping her. She didn't know why, but she felt very comfortable. Once she felt comfortable, she could forget about Lin, Xiangting, and Chao Xian. Uncle, let's go back. I've forgiven them, and I don't want to see them, Luo Lily said and buried her face in Gu Linshan's chest. Gu Linshan glanced at Lin, Xiangting coldly, picked up Luo Loli, and left the bar. After Luo Loli got into the car, Gu Linshan put her in a separate seat. But the alcohol was getting stronger, and she couldn't even sit on the seat. Her body kept sliding down. Gu Linshan's face hardened. He pulled Luo Loli over to sit beside him and pressed her against his chest. Luo Loli rubbed against Gu Linshan's chest like a cat, as if trying to find a comfortable position. In the end, she buried her face in Gu Linshan's neck and fell asleep just like that. Gu Linshan looked at the drunk girl, and his face turned cold. She was still young, but she knew how to drink to drown her sorrows. Gu Linshan's hand attacked Luo Luoli's hands as a punishment. Luo Luoli cried out in pain. She twisted her body, trying to escape from the shackles. Why did it hurt so much? Who hit her? Gu Linshan's heart tightened. The girl's faint sweet scent wafted over, making his breathing heavy. He narrowed his eyes, but he couldn't hide the feeling in his body. Back at the mansion, he carried Luo Luoli back to the room and placed her on the bed. Luo Luoli's hand was still clutching the corner of Gu Linshan's suit. Her disheveled face was red from the alcohol. She frowned uncomfortably because of the discomfort of being drunk. Her mouth was slightly open. The thirst caused by the alcohol made her mouth open unconsciously. She kept murmuring, "Water, drink water. I want to drink water." Gu Linshan looked down at her from above. His eyes were cold and dark as he stared at the person below him. The vortex-like ripples seemed to be about to swallow her in the next second. Luo Loli didn't feel the danger at all. It was as if she was drunk and had been holding onto the body of a beast. "You want to drink water?" Gu Linshan's voice was hoarse. His throat was tight, as if he was the one who was thirsty. Luo Luoli replied softly. "Here you go." Gu Linshan pressed the glass of water down on Luo Luoli. Luo Luoli didn't know what it was. She only felt the liquid coming towards her and drank it like a child. Luo Luoli didn't know what she was doing. Gu Linshan got angrier the more he looked at her. He threw Luo Luoli to the side. Luo Luoli woke up with a splitting headache. When she saw the person lying next to her, Luo Luoli's screams could pass through the walls. Gu Linshan's eyes were still closed. He couldn't help but frown and growl, "Shut up." Luo Luoli shut her mouth. She looked at Gu Linshan's exposed body in horror. Under the light, it was so sexy that it made her heart beat faster. But now Luo Luoli's face was not only hot, but also dazed. He wasn't wearing any clothes on top. What about below? Luo Luoli lowered her head to look at herself. Realizing that she was naked as well, she pulled the blanket up in a panic to check her private parts. Then, she turned to look at Gu Linshan, who had already woken up but looked calm as he leaned against the headboard of the bed. She even lit a cigarette, bit in her mouth, and breathed out smoke lazily. Did you touch me? Well, I was drunk." Luo Luoli's voice was trembling. If that was the case, shouldn't she die to show her regret? "No." Gu Linshan puffed out white smoke from his thin lips. His gaze was distant. "No." Luo Luoli moved her body. It was sore and a little painful. Her expression changed immediately. "You said you didn't touch me. You clearly did." I'm in pain." "No." Luo Luoli's face would have turned red if it wasn't for the paint. Why didn't Gu Linshan sound remorseful at all when he said that? Instead, he looked like he found it a pity. But did Gu Linshan really not touch her like he said? Even if that was the case and he took off all her clothes, he still touched her. Chapter 628. Even so, you shouldn't have taken advantage of me. Luo Luoli rebuked him angrily. "I told you I didn't." Gu Linshan glanced at Luo Luoli indifferently. Luo Luoli glared at him angrily. She didn't want to talk to him anymore. "Turn your face away," Luo Luoli said impatiently when she saw that Gu Linshan wasn't moving. "I want to get up." She didn't want to stay in the same bed as Gu Linshan. Even if Gu Linshan didn't go to that extent, She couldn't imagine what Gu Linshan would do to her. And she was completely drunk. Thinking about it, she wanted to kill herself with a piece of tofu. Gu Linshan extinguished his cigarette in the ashtray on the bedside table. Not only did he turn his head away, but he also lifted the blanket and got out of bed. Luo Luoli saw his muscular body exposed in front of her. She was so frightened that she screamed and closed her eyes. "Ah, you're so annoying." She crawled under the blanket. Gu Linshan's cold eyes flashed with a smile. He didn't want to disturb her. He went straight to the walk-in closet and put on a shirt. When there was no movement in the bedroom, Luo Luoli poked her head out of the blanket. She didn't see Gu Linshan. She knew that he was in the walk-in closet. The walk-in closet was facing her bed. No, this was Gu Linshan's bed. This was Gu Linshan's room. This was the first time she had slept in Gu Linshan's bed. It was too scary. Luo Luoli glanced at the side of the bed. Her clothes were on the floor. It looked as if they had been ripped off and thrown away. Luo Luoli wanted to cry. Why did she drink? Why did she get found by Gu Linshan? Luo Luoli only thought that she had bumped into Lin Xiangting and her friends at the bar, and they seemed to have gotten into a fight. Then Gu Linshan appeared, returned to the car, and fell asleep. She didn't know anything. How could she be so careless? When Gu Linshan was dressed and appeared in front of her, Luo Luoli drew a line between them and said, "In the future, if you see me drinking and fighting in a bar, just pretend you didn't see me." "Who are you to tell me this? Niece? Wifey?" Gu Linshan looked at her darkly and asked. "Dear." Luo Luoli looked at Gu Linshan awkwardly. His unfathomable and repressed gaze made her look away. "I don't care who it is. Don't let this happen again." Gu Linshan's eyes were filled with warning. What if there's a next time? Luo Luoli wanted to know where his bottom line was. "Then I'll make sure you'll never be able to return home." Luo Luoli stood there with a sullen expression. Gu Linshan glanced at her. "Hurry up and come down for breakfast." After saying that, he left the room. Seeing that he had left, Luo Luoli wrapped her body in the quilt and moved out of bed. Then she picked up the clothes scattered on the floor. As she picked them up, her face burned. As soon as she picked them up, the smell of alcohol hit her in the face. She moved her nose closer and sniffed. "Oh my God," she almost vomited. "Are you sure these are her clothes?" Luo Luoli felt like she had lost her memory. She didn't have to be so embarrassed when she opened her eyes. There were no clothes for her in Gu Linshan's room. Therefore, even if she couldn't run to her room like this, she couldn't wear Gu Linshan's clothes or let the maids in the mansion see her wrapped in a quilt. Luo Luoli endured the smell of alcohol on her clothes and put them on one by one. As soon as she opened the door, she bumped into a maid passing by. The maid lowered her head slightly, but Luo Luoli felt embarrassed as if she had been caught in the act. She turned around and ran to her room. Then she slammed the door. She had slept in Gu Linshan's room the whole night. What would other people think if they saw it? The people in the mansion didn't know that she and Gu Linshan were married. Getting a marriage certificate was as normal as going out for a meal. Everyone in the mansion thought that she and Gu Linshan were uncle and niece. However, the niece was already so old. Wasn't it perverted to sleep in the same room with the uncle? Absolutely. However, after Luo Luoli put on her clothes, washed up, and went downstairs, the butler and the maids looked normal, as if nothing had happened. On the contrary, only Luo Luoli had a guilty conscience and stuck her head out. Gu Linshan's dark eyes all fell on her. He just didn't say anything. The phone on his body rang. Gu Linshan took out his phone, glanced at it, and answered without saying a word. It seemed that the other party was talking, and he was just in charge of listening. Therefore, although Luo Luoli pricked up her ears to listen, she couldn't hear anything. She also couldn't find out what was going on from Gu Linshan's mouth, because Gu Linshan's words were, "Got it. We'll see." That's all. That was it. Even the gods couldn't guess what was going on. He didn't even know who was calling him. "It's old Master Gu's birthday next week. Come with me," Gu Linshan said. Luo Luoli didn't know how to react. "Isn't old Master Gu your father? Why are you treating him like an outsider?" "I don't think it's a good idea for me to go, right? Are you sure you'll ruin old Master Gu's mood if you bring me along?" Old Master Gu was so angry last time that he probably hasn't recovered yet. You're Mrs. Gu. It's best if you go. No one will dare to say anything about you, Gu Linshan said arrogantly. How can I not go? What do you think? Gu Linshan retorted. Was there a need to say more about that threatening gaze? Luo Loli lowered her gaze sullenly. She fiddled with the sandwich on her plate and took a bite absent-mindedly. During the day, Luo Loli would go out alone and wander around. She wondered what she would wear if she attended old Master Gu's birthday. In the display window, she was wearing a loose-fitting casual outfit with sneakers on her feet. Her nose and eyes couldn't even be seen on her face. To be honest, every time she looked in the mirror with such an outfit, she felt like she didn't want to see it a second time. But what was wrong with Gu Linshan? Why was he so hardcore? Did he like someone as ugly as her? She was drunk last night. How could he even touch her? Didn't he vomit on the spot? That was true. Every time they did something intimate, he was like a ferocious lion that made people fear him. It was as if he wanted to hold her in his arms and soak her in his blood. So, he really had hardcore tastes. Hey, who's this? A sharp, mocking voice sounded. Luo Luoli turned her head. She saw Lin Xiangting and the sexily dressed woman beside her. Why did she look so familiar? Luo Luoli's mind suddenly whirled as she remembered who this person was. The woman who was fighting in the bar last night, Chao Exine. What a coincidence to bump into her here. Luo Luoli and Lin Xiangting's relationship was already on the table. What else was there to be concerned about? So, she turned to leave without saying a word. Who knew that Chao Exine would step forward and block her path? Luo Luoli looked at Chao Exine helplessly and asked, Are you going to fight again? Chapter 629. When Lin Xiangting saw this, she immediately walked forward and looked at lowly Luo arrogantly. She also gave Chao Exine courage and said, You said that because you think you're very capable? If Gu Linshan hadn't appeared last night, do you think you could have gotten away with it? Also, if Gu Linshan really wanted to do something to us, why would he let us off? He's just trying to coax you. Don't forget that the Lin family and the Gu family have been on good terms for a long time. Is it worth it to destroy the relationship between the Gu and Lin families for an insignificant person like you? The Gu family still cares about the Lin family after all. Of course, Luo Luoli knew about the relationship between the Gu and Lin families. If they weren't on good terms, why would old Master Gu allow the two families to have a marriage alliance? However, saying that the Gu family was afraid of the Lin family was really too flattering. Although she didn't pay attention to business matters, she knew a lot from Luo Meiwan. The Lin family was just dependent on the Gu family. Without the Gu family, the Lin family was a dead crab. Hearing Lin Xiangting's words, Chao Exine's courage rose from the ashes. She laughed coldly. What does she know? If she had this much self-awareness, why would she keep pestering young Master Gu? All right, I just remembered that it's old Master Gu's birthday in a few days. The Lin family and my family have all received invitations. I wonder if you're invited too? After all, I heard that old Master Gu doesn't like you very much. But it's not like you can't go. You can beg young Master Gu to take you there. But aren't you afraid of scaring old Master Gu with your looks? Aren't you afraid of embarrassing young Master Gu? There will be a lot of people at the banquet. If you embarrass him, the whole city might know and say that young Master Gu married Zhong Wuyan. Forget it. Let's not talk about it anymore. Talking about this on the streets will only lower our standards. Lin Xiangting sneered. That's true. We still have to order a dress. We've already made an appointment with the designer. Chao Exine looked at Luo Luoli and laughed out loud. Even if you wear a princess dress, it won't change your ugly appearance. The two women mocked each other one after another and went to the women's clothing store next door. Luo Luoli stood there and watched them leave with a sense of pride and superiority. She didn't feel anything. She hadn't expected them to go too. It wasn't surprising. They were all rich families who were close with the Gu family. At first, she didn't want to go to old Master Gu's birthday party when Gu Linshan asked her to, but now that Lin Xiangting and the others were making things difficult for her, she wanted to go. A few days. They had booked an entire floor of the luxurious hotel. The decorations were magnificent, and the food was exquisite and delicious. Old Master Gu had invited guests to come and go. Before long, there was a commotion at the door. Gu Linshin appeared at the entrance of the banquet. His posture was straight, and his temperament was outstanding. There was no lowly Luo by his side, not even a female companion. This was what Gu Linshin used to do. Old Master Gu saw him at first glance. When he didn't see Luo Luoli, his expression became better. He was afraid that Luo Luoli would appear. He couldn't afford to lose face with that kind of dress and that kind of behavior. Did you see that? Luo Luoli didn't come. Chao Xian immediately said to Lin Xianting, her face full of joy. How would she dare to come? She's so dignified. Anyone who sees her will have nightmares, let alone old Master Gu. Lin Xianting said sarcastically. Who are you talking about? Xianting, young Master Gu is here. Why aren't you reacting? Even if you know that other people aren't as good as you, your calmness will make others jealous. The other women at the party flattered. That's right. Xianting is the most beautiful person at this party. Everyone will be overshadowed by you. Another woman also flattered. Lin Xianting had a smile on her face as she calmly took a sip of champagne. Chao Xian, who are you talking about? Let us hear it. Chao Xian said with a smile. It doesn't matter whether you say it or not. We're talking about an ugly woman. Although she said that the topic of ugly women piqued their interest, because they were all beauties. It was hard to imagine how ugly the woman was. Then all the more you have to say it. Let's be happy too. Chao Xian said, a woman who is pestering young Master Gu. I secretly took a photo of her. Then you'll know how ugly she is. As she said that, she took out a photo of Luo Luoli on her phone and showed it to the women who surrounded her. Then they heard exclamations one after another. No way. How can she be so ugly? She looks like a pervert. What? A pervert is much better looking than her. Such a woman isn't even fit to carry Xianting's shoes. That's right. Can't she have some self-awareness? The comparison between a swan and an ugly duckling. At this moment, Luo Luoli had already put on a beautiful white gown in the room. The design was beautiful and unique. Her beautiful shoulders were slightly exposed, and her skin was fairer than snow. She looked like a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. But when she saw that face and that exploding head, she felt that this beautiful gift had been ruined. She pulled at the instant noodle hair on her head. She felt that she should change her hairstyle and return to her old self. Gu Linshin greeted the people who came up to greet him. He walked to the floor-to-ceiling window in the lounge area and lit a cigarette. He raised his wrist and looked at the time on his watch. Luo Luoli hadn't arrived yet. He shouldn't have let her come here alone. Even if he had asked his driver to drive her here, he couldn't help but feel irritated. His whole body was shrouded in cold air. After smoking, he returned to the banquet hall, but Luo Luoli was still nowhere to be seen. Gu Linshin's face was gloomy. If she didn't come, he would never forgive her. Look, young Master Gu seems to be very impatient. He looked at his watch several times. The women around Lin Xianting started gossiping again. Wow, that watch is a limited edition. It's worth a lot. Your focus is really strange. Then what's your focus? Why does young Master Gu keep looking at the time? It can't be that ugly woman is coming, right? No way. If she comes. The woman who spoke couldn't help but look at Lin Xianting. Lin Xianting didn't like the look of pity that she had been abandoned. But she sneered in her heart and looked calm on the surface. If Luo Luoli really came to such an occasion, she would embarrass Gu Linshin. If things went wrong, Luo Luoli might even be chased out. Gu Linshin had always been sacred and inviolable. If she offended him, it would be pardonable for her to be divorced. Chao Xian was a superficial and flamboyant woman. She spoke up for Lin Xianting. What do you know? It's better if she comes. She can show you how ugly that woman is. Chapter 630. Old Master Gu walked over to Gu Linshin. You were right not to bring her here. How could she be suitable for such an occasion? I've thought about it. I was the one who forced you to get married in the beginning, so you impulsively found someone like that to brush me off. I won't force you in the future. It was rare for old Master Gu to speak so humbly. However, This humble tone was only because he had no choice but to do this to his son. I'm already married. Save it. Gu Linshan's expression was cold. Old Master Gu's expression changed, but he suppressed his anger. I'm doing this for your own good. If you attend any important events in the future, are you going to bring that ugly girl with you? She's very pretty, Gu Linshan said expressionlessly. Old Master Gu's face twitched. He was old, not blind. Gu Linshan didn't care whether Luo Luoli was pretty or ugly. Wasn't she deliberately going against him by marrying Luo Luoli? As long as you divorce her, I won't say a word about your marriage in the future. Anyway, such an ugly woman will ruin your reputation. She's not suitable. Old Master Gu didn't finish his sentence. There was another commotion at the door. Gu Linshan instinctively turned to look. A beautiful white figure entered the banquet hall. She was so beautiful that everyone gasped in amazement. Her beautiful little face was a little dazed, like a lost elf in the forest. She didn't look like a beauty of the human world. No one knew who this young girl was. Even if one had to show an invitation to enter, who would want an invitation at this time? She was so pure, clean, and beautiful. Her long hair casually draped over her beautiful shoulders, but she still easily outshone all the beauties present. In front of her, the beauties became ugly. Lin Xiangting and the others' expressions became very ugly. They didn't know where this person came from. They really wanted her to disappear. However, that was impossible. Luo Luoli stood in the banquet hall and looked around. She immediately saw Gu Linshan in the distance. He had an outstanding figure and a cold temperament. She jogged forward and lowered her head. After changing her appearance, she was not used to being stared at by so many people. It was as if she was a delicacy. Running in front of Gu Linshan, Luo Luoli raised her beautiful little face and said, "Little uncle, I'm sorry I'm late." Gu Linshan retracted his gaze from Luo Luoli's face and looked elsewhere. His expression was unfathomably calm. Just as Luo Luoli was wondering why Gu Linshan was ignoring her, old Master Gu, who was beside her, was still in a daze. This voice, this face, wasn't it Luo Luoli? Old Master Gu's memory was not bad. He did not forget when Luo Meiwan brought Luo Luoli back to the Gu family more than 10 years ago. That little girl was obedient, exquisite, and had big round eyes. Now that she had grown up, she was even more beautiful than when she was young. Lin Xiangting and Chao Xian stared at Luo Luoli as if they had seen a ghost. It was as if they wanted to use their infrared vision to separate Luo Luoli from head to toe and tear apart her disguise. However, even if it was plastic surgery, it was impossible to recover to this extent in one night. This meant that Luo Luoli's ugly appearance in the past was painted by herself. Lin Xiangting was so angry that the hand holding the champagne glass trembled. "Didn't you say it was an ugly girl? Who is this person?" The woman beside her asked again. This undoubtedly stabbed a knife into Lin Xiangting's heart, causing her to bleed profusely. Lin Xiangting was already very beautiful. I didn't expect Lin Xiangting to become so mediocre when this person appeared. Someone whispered in her ear. However, Lin Xiangting heard it. Her expression was almost ferocious. She was so angry that she turned and left the banquet hall. Chao Xian immediately followed her. Her face had been slapped. She definitely did not want to stay here. "Old Master Gu, is this your granddaughter? How incredible. So outstanding." A business partner walked over and said enviously. Old Master Gu came back to his senses and smiled awkwardly. He did not have a daughter, so how could he have a granddaughter? However, Luo Luoli called Gu Linshan uncle. Wasn't she his granddaughter? However, old Master Gu couldn't refuse in front of so many people if he wanted to flatter himself. Other than smiling awkwardly, he could not say anything. Luo Luoli had come to old Master Gu's banquet not only to recover her appearance to fight for herself, but also to divert Gu Linshan's attention from her. Her mother, Luo Meiwan, was also there. Luo Meiwan definitely knew about this. However, if she could not come, old Master Gu would definitely not invite her. Therefore, she deliberately called Gu Linshan little uncle. Moreover, it was understandable. If she did not call him little uncle, Should she call him hubby? She did not want to. Then Luo Luoli took the opportunity to call old Master Gu grandfather. She called him grandfather so loudly that everyone in the banquet hall could hear it. Old Master Gu regretted holding this birthday banquet. Under everyone's gaze, he could not nod or shake his head. He only said, "Didn't I tell you not to come over?" To outsiders, these words sounded like he was angry that Luo Luoli had come late. That's right, old Master Gu. Why are you angry? Can you bear to be angry? You won't even let us see such a beautiful granddaughter. Are you afraid that she will become our daughter-in-law? Huh? After that person finished speaking, he laughed out loud. However, before he could finish laughing, Gu Linshan's gaze turned towards him. It made his hair stand on end. His laughter got stuck in his throat and could not come out. Although he did not know why Gu Linshan's gaze was so scary, he knew that this son of the Gu family was even more difficult to please than old Master Gu. Come, come, come. Don't play with the child. Let's go over there and talk. Old Master Gu hurriedly led his close business partners to the other side. He did not want to talk to them about Luo Luoli, this granddaughter of his. Gu Linshan directly dragged Luo Luoli into the lounge. A pair of cold eyes stared at her, who had changed her appearance. What's wrong? Little uncle, do I look like this? As Luo Luoli spoke, she lifted the hem of her dress with both hands and twirled in front of Gu Linshan. The hem of her dress fluttered lightly. Her hair, which was no longer as smooth as silk, fell over her shoulders. It was a natural beauty. However, Gu Linshan looked at her without saying a word. Little uncle, why aren't you saying anything? Luo Luoli felt that Gu Linshan definitely did not like her appearance. Otherwise, he would not have such a calm expression and even exuded a faint chill. Luo Luoli was pleased with herself. She moved her face forward until it was only a few centimeters away from Gu Linshan's face. Chapter 631. Little uncle, don't you think I look good like this? Sigh, it can't be helped. Actually, this is my real face. My previous appearance was just a disguise. I didn't mean to lie to you. Little uncle, don't be too disappointed. This may be fate. Luo Luoli said with a sigh. In fact, she was overjoyed. Would Gu Linshan be too disappointed and divorce her? Disappointed about what? Disappointed that I'm not ugly. Luo Luoli said matter-of-factly. Then I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. What do you mean? Luo Luoli was stunned. If I'm ugly, I can't bear to kiss her, let alone beautiful ones. Do you understand what I mean? Luo Luoli didn't understand. She knew what Gu Linshan meant, but she didn't understand why his preferences were so strange. Don't you only like ugly women? I'm just not picky. Not picky? If others heard this, they would be dumbfounded. Gu Linshan was famous for being picky when it came to women. He had never had a woman by his side. People who didn't know him would think that he was not interested in women. Luo Luoli was anxious. She pulled Gu Linshan's arm and said, "How can you not be picky? I want both the ugly ones and the pretty ones. Why do I have to be the one?" Gu Linshan grabbed her wrist and pulled her closer to him. Their faces were even closer than before. Luo Luoli shrank back. It has to be you. It has to be you in this lifetime. I won't do it. It's not up to you. Luo Luoli's beautiful eyes were filled with tears. She stared at the overbearing and unreasonable Gu Linshan. Wasn't this person too much? Not only did he want to dominate her, but he also wanted to be a hooligan. Gu Linshan looked at Luo Luoli's shocked expression. He could see the color change on her face even more clearly, even if it was just a slight expression. He clasped her chin to prove that what he said was true. Then he pressed his cold face down and kissed her. Luo Luoli widened her eyes in shock, and her fair face was instantly dyed a clear red. The feeling that belonged to Gu Linshan was spreading strongly. When she came back to her senses, she immediately wanted to push Gu Linshan away. Can't this person be more considerate of the occasion? It would be bad if old Master Gu saw it, but it would be worse if other people saw it. After all, in the eyes of outsiders, they were nieces and uncles. Wasn't this a mess? However, her strength was no match for Gu Linshan. Gu Linshin was always so domineering. When it was finally over, Luo Luoli was gasping for breath. Tears welled up in her eyes as she glared at Gu Linshin. Gu Linshin's rough fingers slid over Luo Luoli's delicate and fair hand. His movements were very gentle, as if he would cut her skin if he used too much force. "This is the first time I've seen you so beautiful." Gu Linshin's voice was hoarse. After her brain was filled with oxygen, Luo Luoli gradually regained consciousness. When she heard Gu Linshin's words, her face became even redder. She angrily pushed Gu Linshin's hand away and took a few steps back. "I really miscalculated. If I had known, I wouldn't have become like this. No matter what kind of face you have to be by my side. You are Gu Linshin's woman. You'd better realize this as soon as possible. Otherwise, you'll be the one suffering." Gu Linshin threatened her. "But I'm only 18 years old. You're an old cow eating young grass." Luo Luoli was anxious and angry. "What did you say? Say it again." Luo Luoli pursed her lips and stopped talking. She took a big step back in fear. She was afraid that she would be hurt by Gu Linshin's evil aura. "I'm an old cow eating young grass? You're right. I like a young grass like you. What do you think?" Gu Linshin smiled coldly. His evil eyes were extremely roguish. Luo Luoli's level was no match for Gu Linshin's. She had lost her disguise, and the blush on her face was obvious. It added to her shyness. She turned around and left. She didn't want to stay here for a second longer. "Where are you going?" Gu Linshin shouted. "To the toilet." "Can I?" Luo Luoli left without looking back. Gu Linshin's dark eyes were filled with a smile. Luo Luoli angrily went to the toilet. Her face in the mirror was beautiful. Her skin was fair and flawless. Compared to before, it was like heaven and earth. However, Luo Luoli felt that she was an eyesore. How could Gu Linshin be like this? He wanted both the ugly and the beautiful. She really couldn't understand him. If she had understood him, she wouldn't be in this situation where she had no way out. It was too late for regrets. When she arrived at the banquet hall, she saw Gu Linshin talking to other guests from afar. Luo Luoli didn't go over. She casually found a seat and sat down to slowly eat. As for alcohol, she didn't dare to drink. When she thought of the unimaginable things Gu Linshin did to her when she was drunk, her face inexplicably turned red. Lowly Luo's appearance had already made the men at the banquet restless, not to mention her blushing face at this moment. As long as it was a man, he wanted to go up and hit on her. One of the men boldly went up and handed her a glass of fruit juice. Luo Luoli looked at the fruit juice in front of her and was stunned. "For me, I don't think you're fit to drink." Luo Luoli didn't even have to look in Gu Linshin's direction to feel his sharp gaze. It made her body stiffen. Every nerve in her body was stretched taut. "What's wrong? It's delicious. I specially poured it for you." The man saw Luo Luoli hesitate and continued to curry favor. "No, I don't like fruit juice." She didn't care if she rejected him or embarrassed him. After all, being kind to a man was being cruel to herself. If she drank this fruit juice, Gu Linshin wouldn't let her go when she went back. "You're not going to give me face?" the man said in a joking tone. "All right, I won't drink it." The drink was set aside. Luo Luoli thought that he would leave after being rejected. She didn't expect the man to sit directly next to her. She was so shocked that she froze. "What are you doing sitting here?" Luo Luoli's hair stood on end. She was terrified and instinctively asked, "You don't have to be so nervous." "I'm just sitting here," the man said gently and politely. Luo Luoli looked at him warily. She was panicking as if she was guarding against an enemy. "Don't have to be nervous?" She was too nervous. She felt that the entire banquet hall had become dozens of degrees colder. She was so cold that she was trembling. "Then sit down. I'm leaving." She didn't want to suffer. However, just as she was about to stand up, the man reached out and grabbed her, wanting to make her stay. Chapter 632. Everyone in the banquet hall was shocked. When Old Master Gu saw Gu Linshin walking towards Luo Luoli, he knew that something bad had happened. He didn't expect Gu Linshin to be so impudent. He didn't care about the occasion at all. He was so angry that the flesh on his face was trembling. The people attending this banquet were not ordinary people. The man who had been beaten up was the son of an important guest. What was wrong with a man and a woman being of equal social status? When Old Master Gu thought of Gu Linshan and Luo Luoli's current relationship as husband and wife, he felt as if he had eaten Chinese gold thread. He couldn't speak of his bitterness. The so-called gentleman was kicked to the ground. When he got up from the ground, he was dumbfounded. When he met Gu Linshan's terrifying gaze, the words he wanted to explain were stuck in his throat. He couldn't say anything. Gu Linshan grabbed Luo Luoli's wrist and dragged her out of the banquet hall. No one dared to say anything. Luo Luoli's wrist hurt from being pulled. "My hand hurts." Luo Luoli shook her hand, but she couldn't get rid of the shackles. This person was really too much. Didn't he know how strong her hand was? She was going to leave a red mark on her wrist. Gu Linshan's face was cold. He dragged Luo Luoli into the car before letting her go. Luo Luoli rubbed her wrist, feeling wronged. "What are you doing? What did I do wrong? Go back and put on makeup. Cover your face," Gu Linshan ordered. Luo Luoli was stunned. "Was this for real?" she asked with uncertainty and excitement. "You don't like my face now?" "I don't like it. Then all the more I can't put on makeup. Just like this, it's beautiful. I like it." Luo Luoli's mood improved. Gu Linshan had never been angry with anyone in his life. If anyone made him feel uncomfortable, he wouldn't let that person live to see the next day. Luo Luoli was very proud. She fiddled with her skirt and tidied her slightly messy hair. Her little face was flushed red. Just as she was feeling proud, her vision darkened. Gu Linshan's shadow was pressing down on her. Loli Luo was dumbfounded and shocked as she looked at the person who was pressing down on her from above. Wasn't this too scary? "What were you doing?" Gu reached out his hand and hooked Luoli's chin. "If you don't want to put on makeup, I should lock you. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble if you mess with a man outside." Gu Linshan stared at the girl under him with a possessive look. Luo Luoli's heart. Was this the reason why she had to put makeup on her face? If she didn't put on makeup, she would definitely attract men. At that time, she would really be unlucky. Gu Linshan's reminder, no, this warning hit her head like a hammer, making her dizzy. "How about this? I'll put on makeup when I go out. I won't put on makeup at home. Is that okay?" She was being pressed down by the devil's claws. "You should be so obedient." Luo Luoli thought. She didn't want to be obedient. Gu Linshan was more difficult to deal with than anyone else. She would be the one who would suffer. Lan Wanru was drinking medicine in the room. She drank all the medicine in the bowl in one gulp. The bitterness made her frown. Belle looked at her and said, "Miss, is the medicine more bitter than before? Why don't I get some sugar for you? After drinking the medicine, you can put a sugar in your mouth. Then it won't be so bitter." "The medicine is as bitter as before. When did you see me put a sugar in my mouth? I just feel that the bitterness of the medicine made me think of my current situation. What's more bitter than not being able to get Brother Hao Yan's love?" Lan Wanru handed the empty bowl to Belle. Belle took it and said worriedly for Lan Wanru, "In 3 months, Tang Bao will give birth." 3 months. Lan Wanru supported her head with her hands. She looked sleepy and tired. "Miss, are you okay?" Although it said 3 months, there are still 90 days left. There's still time to think of a solution. Belle comforted her. "I think, if Annie knows that the child in Tang Bao's belly is not Brother Hao Yan's, she won't let it go." "That's right. Miss, if you tell old madam that, she will definitely make Tang Bao abort the child in her belly. Anyway, we've already done it once, so it doesn't matter if we do a second time. I'm going to visit Auntie today, but I don't dare to say it. I'm afraid that Annie won't believe me and will think that I'm a scheming woman. She will stop me from contacting Brother Hao Yan. I'm really worried and scared." Lan Wanru said dejectedly. She looked very weak. Belle's eyes turned and said, "Miss, I have an idea what—" Belle went forward and whispered a few words in Lan Wanru's ear. Lan Wanru looked worried. "Is this okay?" "Of course. When the truth comes out, who would care about who was the one who said it?" Lan Wanru didn't say anything. She looked down, and her eyes shone with a calculating light. When they arrived at the bungalow, Lan Wanru went in to look for Yu Song-hwan. Belle looked like she didn't care as she strolled around outside the house. When she saw a servant weeding in the distance, she walked over to help. The servant naturally knew Belle. Every time Lan Wanru came, Belle would be there. "Sister Belle, how can I let you help with this kind of work?" The servant in the bungalow said embarrassedly. "That's right. You'll be by Miss Lan's side in the D family. When Miss Lan marries young Master D in the future, you'll have a meteoric rise." "Don't talk nonsense." Belle denied it verbally, but she couldn't hide the joy in her heart. She had always thought that as long as Lan Wanru married Di Hao Yin, she would naturally have a meteoric rise. In the castle, the title of a supervisor was enough to make outsiders wary. The more she thought about the glory and status it would bring her in the future, the more Belle wanted to do things well. Her expression changed. "But why do you think so? Did you hear the news too?" "What news?" The servant was stunned. "I only heard it from rumors. I might not be able to take it seriously." Belle had an expression that was difficult to say. "Sister Belle, what's going on? Can you tell us?" "That's right. Anyway, only we're talking about it. We won't spread it elsewhere." Belle looked at the servant's gossipy expressions and sighed helplessly. She said reluctantly, "Okay, I can tell you, but you can't spread it." "Definitely not," the servant promised. Belle looked around and saw that there was no one else. She lowered her voice and said, "I heard that the child in young Madam's stomach isn't young Master D's." "What? It's not young Master D's?" the servant exclaimed. Belle tugged at her and said, "Keep your voice down. I'm sorry. I was too surprised." "That's right. How could it not be young Master D's? Then whose is it?" Chapter 633. Belle denied the authenticity of the incident and left people with a lot of questions. Seeing that the servants were still in a daze, Belle patted the dust off her hands and stood up. "Okay, don't talk nonsense. I'm going to find Lan Wanru first." With that, she left. When Lan Wanru saw Belle appear at the door, she didn't stay for long and left. These 2 days, Yu Song-hwan was ready to go to the temple to burn incense. She wanted to pray for Tang Bao's safety and give birth to the twins smoothly. She personally prepared the food for the bodhisattva and checked every dish carefully. Old Madam has really put in a lot of effort for the 2 children. Annie Wong stood at the side and couldn't help. Yu Song-hwan smiled. "As long as my 2 grandsons are safe, this little effort is nothing." "Oh right, after praying for their safety, accompany me to the children's luxury shop to take a look." "Okay, the children haven't been born yet, but old Madam wants to give them the best. I don't even dare to think about giving birth to them. They're really lucky to have such a good grandmother." Annie Wong smiled. Yu Song-hwan was in a good mood and had a smile on his face. "Pack all these up." "Yes." After everything was packed, they prepared to leave. Just as she was about to step out of the door, 2 servants were hiding in the corner and talking to each other. "Is this true or not? Young Madam wouldn't do such a thing, right? If the child isn't the young master's and is someone else's child, it will be found out one day. A paternity test will be exposed with one poke. You don't know this. Some women will do anything for wealth and glory. You have to know that if the young master doesn't know that the child in the stomach is his, then young Madam has won the bet. Although it's a little risky, if she succeeds, she will have everything. This is called seeking fortune in danger." With a bang, the things in Annie Wong's hands fell to the ground. Annie Wong's face was a little pale as she looked at the scattered food on the ground. She didn't know if it was because she was frightened by those words or because she had caused trouble by dropping the food that she had carefully prepared. He froze there, not knowing whether he should pick up the things on the ground. To be honest, she had never encountered such a tricky situation while working with Yu Song-hwan. Hearing the commotion behind them, the servants, who were chatting happily, turned around. When they saw Yu Song-hwan, they were scared out of their wits. "Old Madam, old Madam." At this moment, Yu Song-hwan's face was ashen. His whole body was trembling as he looked at the servants who were talking. "Where did you hear those words from just now?" Yu Song-hwan asked angrily. The servants lowered their heads and didn't say anything, but they were frightened. He regretted that he had said something he shouldn't have. Yu Song-hwan suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "As long as you tell me, I'll spare you. Otherwise, I'll bury you alive one by one." Old, old madam, we heard it from Bailey, who was by landside. She heard that the child in young madam's stomach isn't. Young masters, we don't know anything. Yu Song-hwan was so angry that he almost had a heart attack. His eyes were full of anger. If she guessed correctly, this happened because Lan Wanru came over 2 days ago, and Lan Wanru didn't mention anything to her. But when she thought about Lan Wanru's expression that day, she thought that he was feeling unwell. In the end, Lan Wanru did say that he was going back to rest. She didn't suspect anything else. Bailey must have said it because she and the other servants were gossiping. So there was such a thing? Then, why would Lan Wanru think so? Old madam, don't think too much. These servants must be gossiping. It's because I didn't manage them well, Annie Wong said cautiously. Lan Wanru must know something. Yu Song-hwan guessed. Why do you say that, old madam? Don't forget that Tang Bao and Di Junbai used to have an ambiguous relationship. If she wasn't pregnant, I would never allow such an indecent woman to stay by Hao Yin's side. I think that Lan Wanru and Di Junbai interact every day. She must have found out something. Old madam, these are all guesses without any evidence. Could it be false? It's best if it's false. If it's true, I won't let her off. What do you want to do, old madam? For the purity of the Di family's bloodline, Tang Bao must do a paternity test. Anyway, even if the child isn't born yet, the amniotic fluid can be used for the test, Yu Song-hwan said firmly. Then we need to let young master know, right? We need to take a sample to do a paternity test. There's no need to let him know. I just need to show him the results. When the time comes, we can use the cup he used to test it. If it's Hao Yin's child, I'll pretend that this never happened. If it's not, Hao Yin will personally get rid of Tang Bao without me saying anything. Yu Song-hwan thought about how his son, who was famous all his life, was fooled by a little girl. The expression on his face couldn't help but become bitter and sad. Just a moment ago, she was still happily praying for her unborn grandson. Now that this had happened, her mood fell to the bottom. At this moment, Tang Bao didn't know that she was being suspected at all. Every day, she looked forward to the moment when the child was born. She was extremely nervous. She was considering whether to have a natural birth or a C-section. A natural birth was good for the child. She wanted a natural birth. However, she thought about it again. She wasn't pregnant with 1 child, but 2. Could she have a natural birth? No. She had to ask Di Hao Yin. After dinner, Di Hao Yin went to the study, and Tang Bao went to the study. She went straight in without knocking on the door. Di Hao Yin's gaze fell on the computer screen in front of him. Tang Bao's behavior of coming in without knocking did not make him unhappy at all. It was as if the only person who dared to come in like this was Tang Bao. He didn't even need to look. Di Hao Yin, let me ask you something. Tang Bao moved to the side of the desk. Do you think I should have a natural birth or a C-section? Di Hao Yin's gaze moved slightly. His attention was attracted by Tang Bao's words. He directly decided. C-section. Why? A natural birth is good for the child. Tang Bao didn't understand. She thought that Di Hao Yin didn't know which birth method was best for the child. She might as well tell him directly. Di Hao Yin's dark eyes sharpened. Can you give birth to the child naturally? Why can't I give birth? Since you came to ask me, it's up to me to decide. Tang Bao bit her lip. This person was really domineering. If she had known, she wouldn't have come to ask him. However, even if she didn't ask, in the end, Di Hao Yin would still be the one to make the decision. She had no right to make her own decision at all. Chapter 634. Di Hao Yin was slightly stunned, and then looked at her with his black eyes with madness and ridicule. So you're worried that I won't be interested in you because of scar. Don't worry, with your beauty, even if you have a scar on your body, it won't affect my interest in you. Tang Bao's fair face couldn't help but blush. She retorted, when did I say that? I'm purely a beauty lover. Don't quibble, Di Hao Yin said lightly. Tang Bao was forced to stomp her feet. She turned around and wanted to leave, but she still had something to say to Di Hao Yin. The child is going to be born in 3 months. I want to buy some clothes and shoes for the child and put them in their nursery. It's all ready, but I didn't buy those. I want to buy some for them personally. Please, take me out for a walk. Tang Bao grabbed Di Hao Yin's sleeve and tugged gently. Di Hao Yin, if you don't take me out, I'll keep disturbing your work. The next day, Di Hao Yin didn't go to tea. Instead, he accompanied Tang Bao to the children's luxury store. After entering, Tang Bao was looking at all kinds of baby products. Di Hao Yin stood beside her. His face had always been cold, and it was frightening that strangers couldn't get close to him. The cold air emitted from his body made the entire children's luxury store drop by more than 10 degrees. He shouldn't have agreed to come. No one knew what he was thinking. After being pestered by Tang Bao, he finally agreed. The shop assistant stood far away and didn't dare to get close at all. She carefully gossiped. That seems to be the king of D City, Di Hao Yin. God, he actually accompanied a pregnant woman to buy baby products. He's so down to earth. Who is that pregnant woman to him? Is she his sister? But I've never heard that Di Hao Yin has a sister. It must be his sister. I've never heard that Di Hao Yin is married. If he's not married, how can he have a child? Then could she be a lover or something? Rich and powerful men don't like to bind themselves with marriage. But there's still a lot of women who are willing to give birth to children for him, even if they don't have status. Yes, I also want to give birth to little monkeys for young Master D without any status. Tang Bao looked at those things and casually picked them up. They were worth tens of thousands. She was so shocked that she was dumbfounded. Di Hao Yin, are you sure you want to buy them here? Di Hao Yin furrowed his brows and stared at Tang Bao. His gaze was sharp, but he did not say a word. The things here are ridiculously expensive. I heard that children grow very quickly after they are born. They can't wait to grow a lot in just a few days. If you buy them, they won't be able to wear them for a few days. Isn't it too wasteful? Tang Bao felt that there was no need for children to wear such nice clothes. Then do you think my child should wear cheap clothes? Di Hao Yin's black eyes were cold. Tang Bao was speechless. It was indeed unnecessary for the child of the Emperor City's king to wear goods from a street stall. It didn't match his status either. She even felt that even if the child wore goods from a street stall, as long as others knew that they were Di Hao Yin's son or daughter, they would think that it was a famous brand. However, after thinking about it, since Di Hao Yin had brought her here, he would definitely not let the child wear low-grade clothes, even if it was a diaper that would be thrown away after use. Therefore, Tang Bao did not talk about this topic. When she was choosing, she was in a dilemma again. Di Hao Yin, do you think I should buy men's clothes or women's clothes? I don't even know if it's a boy or a girl in my stomach. I'll buy both. Then what if it's a boy or a girl? What if you buy extra? Tang Bao asked. Do you think I can't afford to waste it? Di Hao Yin looked at her coldly, then changed the topic. If you're worried about wasting it, you can just have another one. Tang Bao felt the entire air heating up. She glared at him. No way. Then, she ignored Di Hao Yin and turned to look at the clothes that the baby was wearing. Tang Bao chose a few boys' and girls' clothes and shoes from the children's luxury store. The more she looked at them, the cuter they were, especially the little shoes. They were not even as big as her palm. So, she bought a few more pairs. Then, when Di Hao Yin was paying the bill, Tang Bao heard that it was 2 million yuan. She was so scared that her hands trembled. When Ju was carrying the things out, she looked over weakly. It was really a luxury store. It was too extravagant. Those things were bought at a better store, at most, tens of thousands of yuan. That was already very good. So, Di Hao Yin grew up eating diamonds. Then, would it be harder for his children to raise in the future? If she had to raise them like this, she would not be able to raise them. After Tang Bao's belly grew bigger and bigger, she could not sleep well at night, especially in the past 2 days. She would wake up at night. Tang Bao slept on her side, and Di Hao Yin was behind her. She quietly turned around, and Di Hao Yin's sharp face, who was sleeping soundly, crashed into her heart with a strong impact. Tang Bao stared at him in a daze for a while, then quietly got up from the bed. She got out of bed. She left the room and walked to the baby's room. Tang Bao only found out after the baby's room was ready. At that time, she was still thinking about when to tell Di Hao Yin that the child needed a baby's room. She did not expect that it had already been ready. However, there was one thing that she was very dissatisfied with and did not understand. There were so many rooms. Why did the baby's room have to be so far away from the master bedroom? Although she was dissatisfied, it was a little annoying to move it after it was done. However, the most important thing was that this was Di Hao Yin's intention. Who would dare to go against his wishes? Tang Bao pushed open the door of the baby's room. The inside was cute and dreamy. Whether it was the design of the room or the baby products, they were all prepared by Li Yin. Fortunately, she went to buy some things for the child today, including toys. Tang Bao picked up the little yellow duck that was placed on the decorative cabinet. She did not know who bought it, but she held it in her palm and looked at it carefully. She squeezed it playfully, and it immediately let out a duck cry. Tang Bao was startled, and then she laughed. Di Hao Yin, who was standing outside the baby's room, did not come in. He just silently looked at the pure and happy smile on Tang Bao's face. His dark eyes rippled deeply, including his heart. When Tang Bao turned around, she saw the tall figure outside the door. She put down the little yellow duck guiltily, walked over, and said, "Did I wake you up?" When I got up, you seemed to be still asleep. What are you doing here? Di Hao Yin did not say that he was already awake when Tang Bao moved in bed, not to mention that she got out of bed. I couldn't sleep, so I came out for a walk. I walked into the baby's room. Go back to sleep. Oh. Tang Bao pursed her lips, turned around, and closed the door of the baby's room. She still wanted to look at the baby for a while. Since she was discovered by Di Hao Yin, it was better to look at the baby during the day. During the day, when Di Hao Yin was not in the castle, Tang Bao went to the baby's room and looked around, imagining that her children would sleep, play, and be happy here. Chapter 635. It was pocket-sized and could be used as an ornament. She took it out and began to assemble the wooden horse. She still needed to study it. As she studied it, she assembled it. It's done. Tang Bao smiled. There are two. Just nice. One for each of us. Thus, Tang Bao began to assemble the other one. The second one was much easier to assemble. When the small wooden horse was halfway assembled, Zhongli walked in and said, "Young madam, old madam is here." Tang Bao was stunned. Yu Sangwan was here? Thinking of how she had no choice but to accept her attitude the last time, she must have come to see the twins in her belly this time. Tang Bao put the unassembled wooden horse aside and prepared to come back later to assemble it. There was no hurry. She stood up and left the baby's room. "Young madam, why don't I tell old madam that it's inconvenient for you to go downstairs now that you're pregnant and ask her to come up? The babies in your belly are her grandchildren. She should want to see them, right?" Zhongli said a little angrily. "Forget it. Help me. I'm the younger one. Of course, I'll go and see her." In this regard, Tang Bao didn't care. There was no need to make Yu Sangwan hate her more for such a small matter. She would be fine as long as she was careful. With Zhongli's help, Tang Bao went downstairs and walked into the living room. Yu Sangwan was sitting on the sofa and drinking tea poured by the servant. Tang Bao walked over and said, "Mom." Yu Sangwan looked up and glanced at Tang Bao's belly, which was much bigger than before, then looked away coldly. Tang Bao sat down on the sofa, and Zhongli stood not far away. Yu Sangwan didn't chase them away. Tang Bao wanted to take the initiative to speak, but he was afraid that Yu Sangwan would be unhappy, so he froze there and didn't say a word. "What are you doing?" Yu Sangwan spoke. "Stay in the nursery." With a smile on his face, Tang Bao thought of something and quickly said, "Mom, the nursery is ready. Why don't you go take a look? The design style inside is very dreamy and cute." "No need. I'll have plenty of time to read it in the future." Yu Sanghuan flatly refused. Although Tang Bao was a little surprised, he did not say much. He only said, "That's fine too." "Who is in charge of the nursery?" Yu Sanghuan asked. "It's Di Hao Yin." "I think so too." Yu Sanghuan looked down indifferently at the tea in his cup and said, "As long as it's his own child, he would do the same." When Tang Bao heard Yu Songhuan's words, he didn't know why, but he felt that there was something strange about it. But when he thought about it, perhaps Yu Songhuan was trying to express that all parents in the world are of one mind. It was just that she was thinking too much because she was pregnant. Yeah, even the layout of the nursery was prepared by Di Hao Qian. Yu Songhuan's expression changed slightly, but he didn't want to continue this topic. He raised his expressionless face and said, "How about this? Come to my bungalow for lunch. You haven't been to my place in a long time." Tang Bao was surprised by Yu Songhuan's invitation. She knew very well that Yu Songhuan didn't like her. It seemed that Yu Songhuan had also compromised for the sake of the child in her belly. "Mom, since you're already here, why don't you eat here?" "You don't have to run around," Tang Bao said. "Are you afraid that I'll run around? Or do you not want to go to my place? Or do you think that I'll harm you if you go to my place?" Yu Songhuan looked unhappy. "That's not what I meant." Tang Bao hurriedly said, "You're pregnant with my grandson now. Even if I don't like you, I won't harm the bloodline of the Di family." Yu Songhuan glanced indifferently at her huge belly and said, "I'll call Hao Ian and tell him. When the time comes, I'll personally send you back to the castle." If Tang Bao refused again, Yu Songhuan would fall out with her. It seemed that Yu Songhuan had specially come to pick her up for lunch. "Okay then, I'll go over for lunch." Tang Bao agreed. Zhang Li, who had been standing not far away and hoping that Tang Bao wouldn't agree, heard Tang Bao's words and immediately said, "Old madam, should I go too?" Yu Songhuan's expression became stern. "Do you think that my people can't take care of her?" Zhang Li still wanted to say something, but Tang Bao beat him to it and said, "It doesn't matter. What had happened if I go to the bungalow?" She was brought there by Yu Songhuan. If something happened to her, that would be Yu Songhuan's fault. The loss of their first child was done in secret. Yu Songhuan wasn't stupid enough to do something so blatant. After knowing Yu Songhuan for so long, she knew how scheming he was. If he wanted to hurt her, he would never let Di Haoyin know. Tang Bao got into Yu Songhuan's car and sat in the same car as Yu Songhuan. She wanted to liven up the atmosphere and improve her relationship with Yu Songhuan. However, looking at Yu Songhuan's expression, it didn't seem like he was going to take her to the bungalow for lunch. "Mom, how about I call Di Haoyin?" Tang Bao asked. "What's the hurry?" Yu Songhuan's expression was cold. "Well, there's no hurry. We're going to eat at Mom's place anyway." "It's fine even if we don't call," Tang Bao said with a smile. There was a hidden meaning in her words. If something happened to Yu Songhuan's place, Di Haoyin's first suspect would be her. Yu Songhuan looked as if he didn't know, and his expression was indifferent. Tang Bao didn't feel uneasy when she said that. She just didn't want to make it so obvious. When the car stopped, Tang Bao got out of the car and was stunned by the hospital in front of her. She stood there without moving, and there was a puzzled look on her face. "Why did you come to the hospital? Didn't you say you were going to the bungalow?" Tang Bao asked. "Didn't you want to do a prenatal checkup?" "I want to know if my grandson is doing well in your womb. If you want to know, I can show you the information from the prenatal checkup a while ago. Moreover, this hospital wasn't the hospital where she had been doing prenatal checkups. How could she? I want to see it for myself. Do you have a problem with that?" Yu Songhuan asked in a dignified manner. "It's not that I have a problem with it, but it's not necessary. Even if you want to see the child's condition, you can go for the next prenatal checkup. The doctor said that too many prenatal checkups will affect the child. It's just one more prenatal checkup. What can it do?" Yu Songhuan looked at her suspiciously. "Don't tell me you're feeling guilty and don't dare to go in with me." "Why would I feel guilty?" Tang Bao asked in confusion. Yu Songhuan went straight to the point. "I want to do a paternity test." "W what?" Tang Bao didn't expect Yu Songhuan to have such a purpose. "Why do you want to do a paternity test? Don't tell me. Don't you believe that the child in my womb is Di Haoyin's? I'm just suspicious. I think you should have the obligation to dispel my doubts," Yu Songhuan said matter-of-factly. Chapter 636. Yu Songhuan must have been suspicious. That's why he did this. "Mom, the child is Di Haoyin's." Tang Bao didn't need to promise Yu Songhuan something like this. However, she could only explain, "I'm Di Haoyin's wife. If it's not his child, Whose child could it be? You're insulting me by doubting me. Insulting? Yu Song-hwan seemed to have heard something ridiculous. I don't think people who like to steal are afraid of being insulted. If you like to steal things, you like to steal people even more. Everyone knows about your relationship with Di Junbai. Do you think everyone is a fool? Otherwise, with Hao Ian's protection, you wouldn't even be able to enter the Di family's house. Mom, there's nothing between Di Junbai and I. Before Di Hao Ian lost his memory, everything was clear. Clear? I went to investigate. During the period when you might have been pregnant, you happened to not be in the castle and went back to the Tang family. Di Junbai went to look for you, right? Was that when you got pregnant? Hao Ian lost his memory and didn't want you to get pregnant. So you went to Di Junbai and then blame Hao Ian. Don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. I've been in the Di family for decades. There are plenty of women like you. If you admit that you betrayed Hao Ian, I'll let you go. You'd better stay far away from Hao Ian. If you don't admit it, when the DNA test results come out and prove that the child is unrelated to Hao Ian, you'll end up in a miserable state. Have you thought it through? I don't need to think about it. The child is Di Hao Ian's. Tang Bao felt that she couldn't clear her name even if she jumped into the Yellow River. Since you're so determined, why are you still afraid of a DNA test? Tang Bao was extremely helpless. She felt that she couldn't continue talking to Yu Song-hwan. I'm going to call Di Hao Ian. Even if we're going to do a paternity test, he needs to know. However, I believe that Di Hao Ian will not agree to such a ridiculous thing. Tang Bao turned around and left. Yu Song-hwan did not stop her and asked, if I tell Hao Ian that Di Junbai went to the Tang family to look for you, do you think he will believe you? Tang Bao stopped in his tracks. His back stiffened and he felt a chill run down his spine. Would Di Hao Ian believe her? Would Di Hao Ian, who had lost his memory, believe her? Not only was Tang Bao uncertain, but he also felt uneasy. How did Yu Song-hwan know that Di Junbai had been to her place? It was that maid. She was really unreliable. However, she couldn't be blamed. Yu Song-hwan wasn't someone to be trifled with. If she wanted to know something, she would try her best to pry open that person's mouth. Right now, it wasn't about her pursuing the maid who betrayed her, but how to deal with the current situation. I'm giving you a chance by saying nice things to you now. If you don't listen, I'll use force. Yu Song-hwan had just finished speaking. Just as Yu Song-hwan finished speaking, the accompanying bodyguards blocked Tang Bao's path. Tang Bao panicked and covered her stomach with her hands. She was forced to take 2 steps back. She couldn't fight against the strong bodyguards, so she turned around and begged Yu Song-hwan, Mom, if we do a paternity test, even if it proves my innocence, what will the children think when they grow up and know that you suspected them? Don't worry. If there are no problems with the paternity test today, I can shut anyone's mouth. They won't joke around with their lives. Yu Song-hwan's words were so cold-blooded, but Tang Bao couldn't back down and said, Mom, have you forgotten how I lost my first child? Don't tell me you want to make the same mistake again. Yu Song-hwan's identity was on the same level as the Empress Dowager. How could her face not change when she was threatened by Tang Bao? Are you threatening me? I'm telling the truth. Have you thought about it? If Di Hao Ian recovers his memory one day and you hurt his child, will he forgive you in this life? Do you know why Di Hao Ian came to me and why he didn't come back for the new year with me? He hates you for drugging me and taking his first child away from him. Do you know? Di Hao Ian cares a lot about that child. That was his first child, but it was killed by its own mother. If it weren't for the fact that he lost his memory, he wouldn't have forgiven you. Yu Song-hwan was stunned by Tang Bao's words. Her stern expression softened a little. Of course, she remembered what she had done. She didn't mean to do it, but it killed her first grandson, Di Hao Ian's first son. It wasn't that she didn't know that Di Hao Ian didn't go back for the new year because he knew the truth. But if the child in her belly wasn't Di Hao Ian's, wouldn't the consequences be just as serious? Would Tang Bao's scheme succeed? Di Hao Ian had lost his memory, so she couldn't let her guard down. Yu Song-hwan came back to her senses and quickly settled the panic in her heart. Don't worry, I just want you to do a paternity test. I'll make an appointment with a top expert. It won't hurt the child. Tang Bao saw Yu Song-hwan hesitate for a moment and thought that he had convinced her. He didn't expect that he still wouldn't let her go. Do you want to walk in yourself? Or do you want me to ask someone to force you in? If they do it, they won't hold back and hurt the child. Don't regret it, Yu Song-hwan said coldly. In her heart, she was already sure that the child in her belly wasn't Di Hao-yan's. She was still enduring and being courteous to Tang Bao only because she wanted a result. Tang Bao looked at the road not far away. There were cars and people coming and going, but no one she was familiar with came to save her. She waited expectantly. After she was forced to walk into the hospital, no one came to save her. How could Tang Bao not be hospitalized? If the child was hurt, she would regret it to death. Moreover, there was still some distance from the entrance of the hospital to the examination room. She could wait for Di Hao-yan to appear. It didn't matter if anyone appeared. She walked into the examination room, where the doctors and nurses were waiting. There was a bed in front of her and a machine beside it that needed to be used to extract liquid. It was so cold that it made Tang Bao feel cold all over. Tang Bao stood there motionless. She wanted to stall for time. Every second was an opportunity for her. Why aren't you lying down? What are you waiting for? Are you still waiting for someone to save you? Yu Song-hwan asked sternly. Tang Bao glanced at the female doctor's face and said to Yu Song-hwan, Mom, I can do it, but can you change the doctor? Yu Song-hwan thought that Tang Bao was going to play some tricks again. He didn't expect her to make such a request. Why do you want change? She's too ugly. I'm afraid that she'll scare the child in my belly. You don't know, but every time I go to the hospital for a prenatal checkup, the doctor is very beautiful. She looks like a big star. Yu Song-hwan's face twitched. The doctor's face was even more beautiful. No one had ever made such a request. It was simply an insult to her, but she didn't dare to say anything. Chapter 637. Although she couldn't be compared to a big star, she still had good features. Tang Bao looked at the angry doctor and said in her heart, Sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. I had no choice. Please forgive me. Mom, if you don't change it, I won't cooperate, Tang Bao said. Even if I change it, you still won't cooperate. Yu Song-hwan gave the nurses a look. The nurses immediately went forward and held Tang Bao on both sides and pressed her onto the bed. Let go of me. Let go. Tang Bao struggled, but she didn't dare to use too much strength. She still had to take care of the child in her stomach. Yu Song-hwan didn't care about this. She no longer believed that the child in her stomach was Di Hao-yan's. So, Tang Bao was finally pressed onto the bed and laid on it. Tang Bao looked at Yu Song-hwan in panic and still didn't give up begging for mercy. Mom, you'll hurt the child like this. If the child is hurt, what's the use even if it's proven to be Di Hao-yan's child in the end? Yu Song-hwan didn't say anything, but the doctor said, Please don't worry. Extracting the amniotic fluid will definitely not hurt the child. Tang Bao still wanted to say something, but Yu Song-hwan said coldly, Do you want me to call Di Hao-yan now and ask him to force you to do the paternity test? He won't. Tang Bao shook her head helplessly. He won't? Yu Song-hwan sneered. If he knew that the child in your stomach was born from a date with Di Junbai at the Tang family's house, do you think he won't? Tang Bao's body froze, and she didn't move. The nurses and doctors immediately took her blood pressure, heart rate, and disinfected her. All the preparations were in progress. Tang Bao was stunned. Yu Song-hwan's words were no longer a threat because she had long lost confidence in Di Hao-yan. Before she lost her memory, she was still confident, but now she had no confidence at all. She wondered if she could accept Yu Song-hwan's coercion or Di Hao-yan's coercion for a paternity test. She knew very well that she would rather accept Yu Song-hwan's oppression. So be it. She didn't do anything wrong to Di Hao-yan anyway. She knew better than anyone else who the father of the child was. If she didn't allow Yu Song-hwan to do the DNA test this time, she would still try her best to make her compromise in the future. The process of extracting amniotic fluid was very short, and there was no pain or discomfort, but it made her collapse. Tears kept flowing down her cheeks. However, Yu Song-hwan, who was supervising from the side, did not show any mercy. Until it was done, Tang Bao did not ask how Yu Songhuan managed to get a sample of Di Haoyan's DNA. Since Yu Songhuan was willing to go through so much trouble to bring her over, she must have already prepared everything else. After taking the sample, there was nothing left for her to do. When they walked out of the hospital, Tang Bao asked with an indifferent expression, "Can you let me go home now?" "Didn't I say that I'll take you to the bungalow for dinner? I'll send you back to the castle after dinner." Tang Bao's eyes darkened. Yu Songhuan had a good plan. Who would notice if they went to the bungalow for dinner and did a paternity test on the way? Tang Bao did not say anything. She got in the car and went to the bungalow. Not long after she arrived at the bungalow, Di Haoyan arrived. A tall and oppressive figure appeared in front of her. Tang Bao did not say a word about what had happened to her. She only hoped that after the results of the paternity test came out and Yu Songhuan was relieved, no one would mention this matter again. "Seriously, you just bringing Tang Bao over for dinner? Why are you so nervous?" Yu Songhuan said in a joking tone. "I haven't eaten lunch yet. Let's eat together," Di Haoyan said as if he had just come over to eat because he did not have anything to eat. "All right then. I prepared a lot of dishes anyway," Yu Songhuan instructed Annie Wang. "Let's eat." "Yes." Annie Wang went to the kitchen. Yu Songhuan also turned around and left. Di Haoyan and Tang Bao were left staring at each other. Under that sharp gaze, Tang Bao turned his face away and looked elsewhere. Belle hurried to Lan Wanru's room. Lan Wanru was fiddling with the flowers and plants. "Miss, old madam really brought Tang Bao for a paternity test. It's strange that Tang Bao actually agreed," Belle said. "Even if she didn't agree, how could she go against Andy?" "Miss, the paternity test has already been done. Why are you unhappy? When the time comes, as long as the paternity test proves that the child isn't the young master's, won't she be dead meat?" "What if it is?" Lan Wanru asked. "This?" Belle didn't know either. Lan Wanru stood up and took 2 steps. After pondering for a while, he said, "I'm just taking a gamble. If the child in Tang Bao's stomach is Brother Haoyan's, then wouldn't my paternity test be done for nothing? It would be beneficial to Tang Bao instead." Although he said this, Lan Wanru was very clear in his heart. That child couldn't be anyone else's. It could only be Di Haoyan's. Based on her understanding of Di Junbai's personality, he wouldn't do that kind of thing with Tang Bao. If he did, how could Di Junbai be so calm about Tang Bao? If that's the case, then old madam won't object to Tang Bao being by the young master's side. "That's right, and I don't have any chance at all," Lan Wanru said in a low voice. Belle's eyes darted around as if she had thought of something. She walked towards Lan Wanru and said in a low voice, "So, miss, we need to think of a way to look at the paternity test report. If it's real, then we'll change it. If it's fake, then we don't need to go through so much trouble. What do you think?" Lan Wanru turned around and looked at Belle as if her idea had brought him hope. "But who will do this kind of thing? Who will do this kind of thing for me?" "Miss, leave this kind of thing to me. I just need to bribe the people in the hospital and we'll know, right? Then you have to be careful." Lan Wanru held her hand and said, "Don't worry, it'll be fine." After Belle left the room, Lan Wanru had a faint smile on his face. Even if Di Haoyan blamed her in the future, it had nothing to do with her. She didn't say or do anything. As for Belle, she would collect her corpse. Belle sneaked to the hospital. She found the paternity test center. She saw doctors and nurses going in and out. Then, when a nurse was alone, she pulled her aside. The nurse was shocked by her. "What are you doing? Who are you?" I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. It's like this. My miss came over to do a paternity test yesterday. I wonder when the results will be out." "What's her name?" "Tang Bao." "So it's her." This nurse was the assistant of the expert. She was also present when the paternity test was done. Chapter 638. She wanted to do a paternity test? She must have done something shameful. Who would do such a thing for no reason? Hearing the nurse's words, Belle knew it was because she had a deep impression of Tang Bao. Instead of asking, she asked, "Did you do it for her?" "I'm just the doctor's assistant." The test was done by the specialist. "You can ask the specialist if you want to know." The nurse turned to leave. "Wait, Belle stopped her. You're the specialist's assistant. It shouldn't be a problem for you to see the paternity test report, right? The specialist won't let me see it. Why do you ask? I just want to know the results of the report in advance. Plus, you're the specialist assistant. It's easy for you to see it, Belle said with a smile. Why do I need to see it in advance? When the results are out, the specialist will tell the family. I know, but my daughter wants to know first. You know she's still worried? Belle looked like she wanted to say something, but stopped. The nurse immediately understood. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Don't worry, I won't let you help me for free. Belle took out a stack of money from her bag and stuffed it into the nurse's hand. The nurse wanted to protect her dignity, but after seeing Belle's generosity, she hesitated. Her boyfriend lost a lot of money gambling and was in debt. He wanted her to help him borrow money. She was worried that she couldn't do it. The money came to her door. There were plenty of things like this in the hospital. She didn't care if there was one more. Okay, I'll tell you when the report is out. The nurse accepted the deal and took the money. Okay, this is my phone number. Call it when you know. Belle took out a piece of paper with her phone number on it and gave it to the nurse. The nurse took it. Don't worry. Since I took your money, I'll definitely tell you. Thank you. Belle's phone rang that night. Lan Wanru was preparing to sleep in his room when Belle rushed in. Lan Wanru frowned unhappily. Why are you so impatient? Miss, I have good news for you. What good news? Lan Wanru didn't know what good news could there be for him. The paternity test report is out. The young master is not biologically related to the children in Tang Bao's womb. What did you say? Lan Wanru asked in disbelief. I heard it clearly. That's what the assistant professor told me. If the child isn't young Master D's, it means that Tang Bao is pregnant with someone else. Belle was very happy for Lan Wanru. However, Lan Wanru didn't have much of a reaction. In fact, she was already unable to recover from this result. The child is not Di Haoyin. In other words, did Tang Bao really sleep with someone else and want to blame the baby on Di Haoyin? She thought that the child in Tang Bao's stomach must be Di Haoyin's. She didn't expect such a reversal. She didn't even have to do anything. Miss, this is great. After the old madam finds out the truth, Tang Bao can just wait for death. Lan Wanru's eyes were filled with sarcasm. She was also looking forward to it. Tang Bao was really more courageous than she had imagined. He used someone else's child to strengthen his position in the D family. Although this move was dangerous, the chances of success were high. If she hadn't used this move, who would have tested the child in Tang Bao's womb? After all, Di Haoyin didn't suspect anything. However, whose child was that? Di Junbai's? The only suspicious man who was close to Tang Bao was Di Junbai. Then, miss, what do we need to do next? Belle asked. Lan Wanru glanced at her and said, From now on, we don't need to do anything. The paternity test report was sent directly to the bungalow by the expert. Only Annie Wong saw it. When the expert handed the report over, he didn't say anything. There was no need to say anything. They only needed to do as they were told. As for the other things, if they were asked, they would answer. If they didn't, they would pretend to be mute. If possible, they didn't want to see anything that they shouldn't see. After the expert left, Annie Wong took the report and went to look for Yu Song-hwan. Yu Song-hwan was sitting in the living room and waiting with a string of prayer beads in his hand. Old madam, I brought the report, Annie Wong said softly. In fact, she was also very nervous. She was afraid that there would be an accident. It would be best if nothing happened. When she saw Yu Song-hwan open his eyes, she handed the report over. Yu Song-hwan looked at the carefully folded report and hid his nervousness. She still hoped that the child was her biological grandson. With great difficulty, she suppressed her unstable emotions and opened the list. When she saw the words at the bottom right corner, her face instantly turned pale. Her hand trembled, and the list floated down and landed right next to Wong Saw's feet. Annie Wong also had good eyesight. She immediately saw the words clearly. She was also shocked. When she looked at Yu Song-hwan again, he directly smashed the prayer beads in his hand. The beads splattered everywhere. Old madam, calm down. Take care of your health. Annie Wong hurriedly comforted her. Take care of my health? Sooner or later, my life will be ruined by her hands. She's really bold. I really want to take her life right now. Yu Song-hwan had never been so angry, even from the first day he entered the D family. And ever since Tang Bao married Di Hao Yin, there wasn't a day that she wasn't angry. And this time, Tang Bao's behavior was even more unbearable. If you're unhappy, just think of a way to make her disappear. Don't hurt yourself, Andy Wong advised. I'm not doing it for myself. Hao Yin, why can't Hao Yin see through a woman like this? Must he hurt her until she's black and blue before he's willing to let go? Yu Song-hwan's eyes were filled with tears. If I tell him that the child in Tang Bao's stomach isn't his, how angry will he be? He's such a strong person, but he was betrayed by Tang Bao. How can he accept it? This was something that even a man from a normal family wouldn't be able to accept, let alone the high and mighty Di Hao Yin. His dignity and nobility would all be damaged. If old madam is worried about this, why don't you send Tang Bao away in private? Seeing this kind of paternity test is equivalent to exposing her true colors. Wouldn't she be in a hurry to escape? After she escapes, although young Master D will be anxious, at least he won't be unable to restrain his anger when he finds out that the child isn't his. This time, even if I have to sacrifice 3 lives, I definitely won't let her off. Yu Song-hwan said with a vicious gaze. Tang Bao didn't have to worry about the paternity test at all. After she was done, she stayed in the castle obediently. Chapter 639. Then, Yu Sung-won wouldn't have to keep thinking about how to deal with her. Tang Bao kept looking at the time on her phone. It was Sunday today, and Wan Malay had promised to visit her. It was about time. Just as she was about to call Wan Malay's figure jumped into the hall. Tang Bao saw her and said, "Did you come back from abroad? Why are you taking so long? It's good enough that I came to visit you, but you still have to be so picky." Wan Malay rolled her eyes, then looked at her big belly and touched it gently. "Oh my God, I haven't seen you for a while, and your belly has grown so much. Is it hard to carry such a big belly?" "Of course it's hard. It's very hard." Tang Bao could not help but complain to her. "How long until you give birth?" "Less than 3 months. There's still a long time. I can't go anywhere in the castle, and I'm bored to death. I don't even know what the company is like now." "Don't worry about that. The company is doing better than before, and the percentage points are constantly rising," Wan Malay said with a smile. "Don't the people in the company think that I haven't been to the company for so long? There are rumors, right? Tell me about it. Do you really want to hear it?" "Of course, tell me." Tang Bao was very curious. "They said that you sold the company to T, and she ran away with the money." Tang Bao was stunned and asked, "Were they very happy when they said that?" "That's right." Tang Bao was speechless. As an employee of her small company, it was definitely not as valuable as being an employee under T's name. It would be strange if they weren't happy. "I say, don't keep hold of your phone. Aren't you afraid of radiation?" Wan Malay asked. Tang Bao looked at the phone in her hand and said, "It's okay. There's no scientific basis to say that the radiation from the TV and cell phones will affect the fetus." "How do you know?" "The doctor said so." Tang Bao looked at the way Wan Lai stared at her. Thinking of something, he smiled mysteriously and took her hand. "Let's go out for a walk. When I saw your smile, I knew it wasn't a good thing. Don't accuse me wrongly. It's a good thing that you're in trouble." When they were outside, Tang Bao looked around but did not see Hiju. However, Hiju had always been elusive, unless he called out, "Tell me, what's your good deed?" "Hiju, of course." Tang Bao smiled slyly. "You? Are you kidding me? I don't believe that you didn't want to meet Hiju or something when you came here." Tang Bao saw through her expression. Wan Malay's face turned red, but he refused to admit it. "I just didn't think about it. I am here to see you." "Hiju! Hiju! Hiju!" Tang Bao shouted. "Hey, what are you doing?" Wan Malay looked around anxiously, afraid that Hiju would really come out. However, Tang Bao was not disappointed. Hiju appeared and walked over. Tang Bao smiled. "Hiju, Malay has something to say to you." "I'll give you a chance to be alone with each other. Do you want it?" "Yes." Hiju was very honest. Wan Malay was speechless. Also, when did she say that she had something to say to Hee-ju? Nonsense. Friends are meant to be tricked, right? Then you guys have a good chat. I'm going back to sleep first. Otherwise, Di Hao Hien will definitely scare me with his eyes if he knows that I didn't sleep. Tang Bao patted his mouth and yawned as he walked back. He completely ignored Wan Malay's stare. In fact, although she looked calm on the surface, her heart was in a mess. When she reached the living room, she found a floor-to-ceiling window and hid in front of a vase that was as tall as her. She looked out and wanted to see how Wan Malay and Hee-ju were dating. She felt that Hee-ju was definitely not as good as Di Hao Ian when it came to dating. Di Hao Ian wanted something very purposeful. It was definitely an overwhelming plunder, whether you were willing or not. Hee-ju, on the other hand, was like an icicle. His face was cold and expressionless. He was not afraid of freezing a girl. Tang Bao realized that Wan Malay liked this kind of person. In the past, Gu Linshin was gloomy. Now Hee-ju was cold. Both of them had this characteristic. Why is it blocked by a tree? How annoying. Tang Bao muttered. She looked left and right, but she could not see Hee-ju and Wan Malay. Then, she thought that if she could not see them here, she could go upstairs to take a look. As the saying goes, the higher one stands, the farther one can see. Just as she was about to go upstairs, a low voice came from behind her. Who allowed you to go upstairs alone? Tang Bao was stunned. She turned around and saw Di Hao Ian standing behind her. She pouted and said, "Although I'm pregnant, I'll be fine going upstairs. Don't worry, I care about the child as much as you do." After saying that, Tang Bao held the railing with one hand and prepared to go upstairs. However, before she could step on the stairs, her body became light, and she was carried up in a princess carry. Tang Bao was shocked. Her two small hands immediately climbed onto Di Hao Ian's broad shoulders in a panic. She looked at Di Hao Ian's cold and sharp face and said unhappily, "What are you doing?" "I said that I'll walk by myself." "You're going to take responsibility if you hurt my son?" Tang Bao was unhappy. "How do you know it's a son? Maybe it's a daughter." "No. Di Hao Ian, do you value boys over girls?" Di Hao Ian ignored her unreasonable tantrum and carried her upstairs. He held her very firmly, and even his expression did not change. Tang Bao originally wanted to say that she was pregnant with twins and would be much heavier than before, so it would be better to put her down. However, when she thought about how Di Hao Ian could lift a heavy sofa with one hand in the past, she thought that he was using two hands now. Besides, even if she was pregnant with twins, she was still much lighter than the sofa. Tang Bao was held firmly in his arms. She could clearly feel the strong muscles in his arms. She did not have to worry about falling down at all. However, she was unwilling to put down her hands on his broad shoulders. She was reluctant to part with the touch. The slight sway made her thoughts drift to the past. At that time, she was also pregnant. Di Hao Ian carried her up and down the stairs personally, and he did not get tired of it. Now, although it was the first time he carried her upstairs after she was pregnant, Tang Bao's heart was still filled with emotions. "Di Hao Ian, do you like girls or boys?" Tang Bao wanted to know what Di Hao Ian thought after he lost his memory. Could it be that the answer he gave was the truth before he lost his memory? Di Hao Ian's dark eyes rippled slightly, and he said in a flash, "Whatever. Whatever? How can you be so casual about this kind of thing?" Tang Bao was not very satisfied with this answer. "Then do you want me to value boys over girls? Or do you want me to value girls over boys?" Di Hao Ian lowered his eyebrows, and his gaze fell on the fair little face in his arms. Chapter 640. There was a happy smile on Tang Bao's face. "Just like you, as long as the child in my belly is mine." Di Hao Ian's sharp gaze swept over her. "Do you have a problem with that?" "What problem?" "You're too rude." Tang Bao's face was red. Di Hao Ian did not speak. He stared at Tang Bao's red face. His dark eyes were deep, and he was slightly distracted. Along the way, Tang Bao was carried back to the room. After her feet landed on the ground, she did not know what she had returned to the room for. Her mind was still replaying the interaction between her and Di Hao Yin just now. At this moment, she stood there in a complete daze, like an elk lost in the forest. I heard that pregnant women's IQ will drop. If your IQ drops again, you'll be stupid. Di Hao Yin said this, but his eyes were fixed on her. It was as if he was very interested in a silly woman. However, Tang Bao was very unhappy when she heard this. What do you mean? How am I stupid? Even if I'm pregnant, I'm still a clever little girl. She did not speak with confidence, and her eyes were flickering. That was because Di Hao Yin, who was standing in front of her, had a strong aura that she could not bear. Just as she finished speaking to Di Hao Yin, she saw Di Hao Yin's figure walking towards her. Tang Bao's little heart kept beating wildly. What are you doing? I'm telling you, don't mess around. The doctor said that I'm in an unstable period now, and I can't be provoked. What do I do to provoke you? Di Hao Yin asked. His voice was very low, and there was a sexy hoarseness to it. Tang Bao felt that the temperature of her whole face was rising. When she wanted to retreat, her waist was held. The pregnant waist was not as thick as before. Being hugged so intimately, Tang Bao felt a little uncomfortable. However, when Di Hao Yin's face pressed against hers, her body became even hotter. Before Di Hao Yin could say his name, Tang Bao's mouth was covered. Di. Oh, Tang Bao's mind was instantly muddled, and he could not remember why he had come upstairs. Not to mention being kissed by Di Hao Yin in the end. Later, when Tang Bao came down from upstairs, Wang Malay had already left. Only then did she remember what she was doing upstairs. Seriously, she had been intimate with Di Hao Yin countless times. Why couldn't she face it with a normal heart? Or was it because Di Hao Yin was like a beast when he kissed her? The next day, Di Hao Yin went to tea. Tang Bao was alone in the baby's room. She had already installed the 2 small wooden horses and placed them on the decorative table. When she pressed her finger gently on them, the small wooden horses would sway back and forth. They would continue to sway unless she stopped them with her hand. There was a knock on the door. Zhongli walked in. Young madam, old madam is here. Tang Bao turned around and saw Yu Songhuan walking in. She thought he would ask her to go downstairs. She did not expect him to come to the baby's room in person. Mom. This was the first time she saw Yu Songhuan after the paternity test. Tang Bao could not help but pay more attention to Yu Songhuan's expression. However, she could not tell whether he was happy or angry. Yu Songhuan did not respond to her. He just looked around the baby's room. Then, he looked at Tang Bao with little interest and asked, Which room are you sleeping in? In the master bedroom. I remember that you used to sleep in a room alone. Yes. Tang Bao did not know why Yu Songhuan asked this. Take me there to have a look. Tang Bao was puzzled by Yu Songhuan's behavior. However, since she wanted to see the room, it was not appropriate for her to stop her. So, she took her there. After entering the room, Yu Songhuan said, Close the door. Tang Bao thought to herself, Does he have something to say? So, she closed the door. She kept Zhang Li and the other maids outside the door. After closing the door, Tang Bao turned around and saw Yu Songhuan throw a document on the coffee table. Bam! His attitude was very fierce. Tang Bao walked over and saw the words paternity test report written on it. Was the result out? Wasn't that a good thing? But that was not right. Since the results were out, why was Yu Songhuan's expression and attitude so bad? Logically speaking, after seeing the results, Yu Songhuan would treat her very well. Could it be Tang Bao thought of something that was impossible? Her face turned slightly pale, and she froze there without saying a word. After a long while, she held her waist and picked up the test report on the coffee table. She calmed down a few times before opening it. When she saw the final result written in the bottom right corner, Tang Bao's face turned pale and her breathing became extremely unstable. This is impossible. Yu Songhuan followed her coldly. Impossible? Can't you see the words in black and white? Do you want me to repeat them? But this is impossible. The child in my stomach is Di Hao Yin's. How could she not know whether the child was Di Hao Yin's? From the beginning to the end, she only had Di Hao Yin. She would never do that kind of thing. How could the hospital's test results be fake? Yu Songhuan was very distressed. I hope that the child in my stomach is Hao Ian's more than you. At least I won't let him know what a disgusting woman he married. Tang Bao looked at Yu Songhuan's face with disgust and contempt, and then looked at the test report in her hand. There was nothing wrong with her eyes, but she felt like everything was an illusion. She closed her eyes and tried to calm herself down. But no matter how calm she was, the words that came out were trembling. I don't believe this report. The hospital must have made a mistake. It's impossible. Then you think that I don't want my biological grandson. Tang Bao couldn't say a single word. Yu Songhuan was right. She would not like her, but she would definitely like her biological grandson. Just like in the beginning, Yu Songhuan's attitude changed because of her pregnancy. If she really did not like him, she would not have revealed her true colors until now. However, how could she admit that the paternity test report was real? How could she accept that there was nothing wrong with the hospital's test? What on earth was going on? Don't pretend to be innocent in front of me. I've bypassed Hao Ian and came directly to you because I didn't want Hao Ian to suffer such a blow. I'll only give you 3 days. After 3 days, you will immediately disappear from Hao Ian's side and pretend that you don't exist. Otherwise, don't blame me for showing this report to Hao Ian. After Yu Songhuan finished speaking, he snatched the test report from Tang Bao's hand and put it into his briefcase. Then, he turned and left the room. Tang Bao stood there as if she was frozen. She was thinking about what was going on with that report. She would never believe that it was her report that the child was Di Hao Ian's. And Yu Songhuan would not let her leave without his biological grandson. Chapter 641. After Yu Songhuan left, Zhongli hurriedly ran in to check on Tang Bao's condition. She found that Tang Bao's expression was not right, so she hurriedly asked, "Young madam, are you okay?" Tang Bao came back to her senses in a daze. She looked at Zhang Li's anxious face and shook her head dully. "I'm fine, but why did Zhang Li look so different? Even if you saw something, don't tell Di Hao Qian. If the old madam bullied you, don't tell the young master either. If the old madam bullied you, she bullied the little masters in her stomach. She bullied 3 people at once. The young master will definitely help you," Zhang Li said seriously. "Who said she bullied me? Do I look like I bullied her? But in the past, the old madam also bullied you, but you didn't say anything, causing the young master to misunderstand you and suffer so much. I know you're worried about me, worried that things will be the same as before, but I promise you that I'll be fine and the children will be fine." Really? Zhongli was really worried. In the past, the children were less than 3 months old, but now the children should be born in less than 3 months. Wasn't that more dangerous? "I've already promised you. Are you still worried?" Zhang Li's sincerity made Tang Bao feel warm and sad. "Go and get me some food. I'm hungry." "Okay, I'll go now." Hearing Tang Bao's words, Zhang Li's heart calmed down a little. Perhaps she was thinking too much. After all, the children were already so old. She had always been in charge of Tang Bao's diet, so there definitely wouldn't be a problem. Moreover, if there was a problem with the children, how could the young master not know when he brought them for a prenatal checkup? Zhongli left the room. Tang Bao sat down on the sofa. She was certain that there was something wrong with the report. Most importantly, if Yu Songhuan showed it to Di Hao Ian, would Di Hao Ian believe her? Would he be furious the moment he saw the results of the paternity test? Would he lose his mind and directly harm her and the child? After seeing such a result, would Di Hao Ian still have the rationality to do another paternity test? Tang Bao was very careful. She did not dare to take any chances, because her chances of winning were so small. Could it be that she wanted Di Hao Ian to believe in her instead of the scientific evidence? Wasn't detailed data more reliable than her words? She only had 3 days. What should she do? How could he survive this crisis? Otherwise, she could tell Di Hao Ian that she wanted to do a DNA test again. As long as the results were different from Yu Songhuan's, she would be safe. But what if it was still the same? Although Tang Bao did not know why the results were like this, the hidden schemes were the most dangerous. Then, who on earth wanted to frame her like this? Was it Lan Wanru, Di Lingwe. She could only think of these two people. He was always harboring ulterior motives. In the side hall, Di Lingwe asked in disbelief, "Are you sure?" Lan Wanru nodded. "I'm sure. The child in Tang Bao's belly is indeed not Brother Haoyin's. The paternity test was done by the expert himself, and he has always been very careful. There can't be any mistakes." "This is great. I was worried that Di Haoyin would have an heir. Now, I'm afraid he will be happy for nothing. I was still thinking of ways to get rid of the child in Tang Bao's belly. Now that I don't need it, I'll keep it. When the child is born, I really want to see Di Haoyin's face." So, fate is still on Uncle's side. Lan Wanru said something that made Di Lingwe feel comfortable. Di Lingwe turned around and said with a relaxed and happy smile, "It would be best if you marry Di Haoyin." Lan Wanru looked slightly depressed. "This is my life's wish. Then work hard for your wish. I believe you have the ability." After dinner, Di Lingwe called Di Junbai into the study. The moment he entered, Di Lingwe looked at Di Junbai with a strange gaze. It was as if he wanted to see through Di Junbai's heart. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Di Junbai asked calmly. "Don't you know something? The paternity test was done for the child in Tang Bao's belly." "I don't know. Why did they do a paternity test? Did my brother ask them to do it?" Di Junbai asked in confusion. "No. Yu Songhuan avoided Di Haoyin and forced Tang Bao to do it. Is there a problem? That's what I find strange. If the child in Tang Bao's belly isn't Di Haoyin's, then whose child could it be?" Di Lingwe looked at Di Junbai with a sharp gaze and asked the question in his heart. "Is it yours?" Di Junbai looked up and looked at Di Lingwe. "Why do you think so? If the child in Tang Bao isn't Di Haoyin, then it's yours. It's not mine." Di Lingwe believed that Di Junbai wouldn't lie to him. Most importantly, he wasn't nervous at all when he heard what he said. However, if it wasn't Di Haoyin or Di Junbai, then who else could it be? Could it be Di Ju's? A cold light flashed across Di Junbai's eyes, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. He said, "Is that important? How is it not important? Without He Ju by Di Haoyin's side, it's equivalent to losing his right-hand man. The threat to us will be much smaller. There's no hurry." Di Junbai's expression was indifferent, as if he had just said it casually. Di Lingwe thought that Di Junbai could give him an idea, so he asked thoughtfully, "Do you have an idea?" Di Junbai didn't answer his question. Instead, he asked something else. "The child in Tang Bao's belly isn't my brother's. I'm sure my brother doesn't know about it. My whole family knows about this, but Di Haoyin probably doesn't know about it. I don't plan to tell him either. Anyway, it'll be more interesting after the child is born." Di Lingwe had a vicious smile on his face. On the contrary, Di Junbai didn't have any expression. It was just that his gaze was slightly heavy, hiding his emotions. Tang Bao sat on the sofa, holding Sun Tzu's The Art of War in her hands. When Di Haoyin came in, she was already rubbing her eyes. While Tang Bao was still rubbing her eyes, the book in her hands was taken away. "You don't have time to read?" Di Haoyin's gaze was deep and cold. In any case, he didn't have a pleasant expression. "The more I read, the better it is. That's why I forgot about the time. Anyway, this is better than watching TV, right?" Tang Bao raised her small face and smiled, looking like an innocent young girl. "Looks like I'm not allowed to watch TV. I have to put away the book too." Di Haoyin took the book and turned to go to the bedroom. "Wait a moment, Di Haoyin." Tang Bao called out to him. Di Haoyin turned around and saw Tang Bao reaching out a hand and looking at Di Haoyin with her eyes. Her meaning was obvious. "You have to help me up. I can't get up." Chapter 642. Only then was Tang Bao able to stand up. Even if she stood up, she still had to look up at the tall Di Haoyin. Tang Bao looked at Di Haoyin's handsome face. Every line of his face was perfect, but it did not lose its sexiness and dominance. At this moment, his expression was cold. A sweet smile appeared on Tang Bao's face. She reached out and hugged her arms around Di Haoyin's neck. Then, she kissed his cold lips. His thin lips were no longer pursed and softened. Di Hao Qian stared at her with his dark eyes. His voice was low and hoarse. Are you seducing me? No, I just want to give you some benefits. Tang Bao said with a smile. What's wrong? Are you unhappy? You kiss me every time, and you don't even greet me. After all, I learned it from you. Give me more benefits like this in the future. Di Hao Qian demanded. Okay, Tang Bao said and buried her head in Di Hao Qian's chest. Di Hao Qian narrowed his eyes. Her head was buried in his chest. Tang Bao closed her eyes. She could not bear to part with Di Hao Qian. However, if she could not bear to part with him, their child would be hurt in the end. She knew that it was not Di Hao Qian's intention to hurt the child. However, now that he had lost his memory, he did not know how to control his actions. In the past, Tang Bao knew that Di Hao Qian had lost his memory because he had no choice. Therefore, even if she was hurt again and again, she would never leave him. But now, she really wanted to tell Di Hao Qian that she could not hold on any longer. Mom came over today? You already know the answer. Tang Bao raised her head and looked at the strong chin in front of her. She really wanted to bite it. What did she say? Di Hao Qian lowered his gaze and looked at her. He didn't say anything. Tang Bao curled her lips into a smile. Her eyes were filled with brilliance and brilliance. What do you want her to say? Wasn't she here to see her grandson? After a while, he left. Tang Bao still did not say anything to Di Hao Qian. Maybe he felt something, or maybe he felt nothing. In short, she no longer had the confidence to say anything to Di Hao Qian. He didn't even dare to mention the paternity test. All she wanted now was to protect her child. As for Di Hao Qian, she was only wary and wary of him. 3 days were like 3 seconds to the Tang Bao. It would pass by very quickly. However, her thoughts were in a mess. She had to face all the solutions and situations alone. She did not dare to tell anyone, not even Wan Malay. Now that it was so unsafe and there were still 3 months to give birth to the child, would there be an accident? 3 months was a long time for her. She did not know when danger would befall her. Tang Bao thought that she could escape from Di Hao Qian and hide for 3 months. As long as she could hide for 3 months and give birth to the child safely, she would not be afraid of anything. However, Di Hao Qian was very powerful. How could she hide from his search? If she was caught and found out about the paternity test, would he think that she ran away because she had a guilty conscience? Not to mention Di Hao Qian. Even Tang Bao herself knew what was going on. However, it was impossible for her to sit still and wait for death. What if she succeeded? Therefore, she had to plan well. First of all, if she wanted to escape, she had to have money. Cash. Because if she used a card to withdraw the money, Di Hao Qian would be able to lock onto her location in a second. She could not ask someone to withdraw the money for her, because Di Hao Qian would be able to find out who had withdrawn the money for her. Wouldn't she be harming others then? She could not withdraw the money like this. Then, how should she withdraw it? When she was lying on the bed at night, Tang Bao lay flat and turned to look at Di Hao Qian. She wanted to turn over, but she could not. Di Hao Qian opened his eyes. His dark eyes were frightening. He used a little force and turned her over. Di Hao Qian, can you give me some money? Tang Bao asked as she snuggled up to him. She noticed that Di Hao Qian was staring at her without saying a word and quickly explained, Malay's birthday is coming up soon. I want to give her a mysterious gift, but after thinking about it, I think cash is the best. Di Hao Qian closed his eyes. How much? Tens of thousands. I'll ask someone to transfer the money to her. No. If I could transfer the money, I can do it myself. I want to give her the cash directly and give her an unexpected surprise. Di Hao Qian, how about it? You give me tens of thousands in cash, and I'll give her a red packet after a while. If you don't want to, it's okay. I'll go out and withdraw the money myself. I have money anyway. I don't need to ask you for it, Tang Bao said seriously. Di Hao Qian's face was a little dark. He did not say anything. Di Hao Qian, can you do it? Tang Bao pulled his arm. I said, I'll go out and get it myself. Sleep. Tang Bao bit her lip and glared at him. Stingy. Di Hao Qian. Tang Bao wanted to turn over and sleep with her, but facing him. She wanted to turn around in a fit of pique, but found that she could not. She had no choice but to put the back of her hand on her face and cover her eyes in a fit of pique. The next day, Tang Bao was sitting in the living room, eating fruit and reading Sun Tzu's Art of War. A silver box landed beside her, causing her to be stunned for a moment. Her chewing stopped in place. She looked up and saw Di Haotian in front of her. "What's this?" Tang Bao asked, puzzled. With a click, the silver box opened. Tang Bao was stunned by the neat stack of money inside. She thought of something and asked, "Is this the cash you want to give me? I don't want so much. Tens of thousands will do." When the time came, she would take the box and run away. Wouldn't that be too much of a rumor? Those who did not know would think that she had just made a deal with a triad. If Di Haotian knew what she was thinking, would he strangle her to death? Don't tell me that you don't even have pocket money as my woman. I only need tens of thousands of dollars for running away. When the money inside is used up, I'll put more money in. You can treat it as your treasure bowl. I only need tens of thousands of dollars for running away. You can ask me for anything in terms of money. I really only need tens of thousands of dollars for running away. After Di Haotian turned and left, Tang Bao reached out and rummaged through the stacks of money in the box. There were about a few $1,000,000. When the time came, she would take tens of thousands of dollars from the bottom and replace it with something else. Di Haotian would not notice. When they were sleeping at night, "Di Haotian, I want to go to the company tomorrow. It won't close down." "Of course I know it won't close down. I'm preparing to run away." Tang Bao took the initiative to approach Di Haotian. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.